Hello there. We are live.
Hello, friends.
What is up, everyone? We bring you today the one and only Mr. Super himself. The most super.
It's my government name.
Super review. Yeah.
Yes. Your Christian name.
I like how Caleb still refers to you as Superstar Review.
Yeah.
Like he's not changing it.
I wonder. I actually wonder how much of that is like, you know, an intentional mistake versus it's just ingrained in his head and he can't get it.
Yeah. You all right there? Things are falling for Griffin.
Yeah. Cats.
A Yaxi ear pad just fell off one of my containers.
That's a loud Yaxi ear pad.
Into the bin, or
it's a sensitive microphone. I just have denoising on, so you're not hearing all of the noise.
It's the weighted Yaxi ear pad.
It's a leather TH900 pad. It's not a small pad. But,
okay. Anyway, we're here for another live stream session. This time with the illustrious, the one and only Mark Ryan. Go and check out his channel. I don't know if we have that linked in the description, but it should be. That's at Super Review. This stream, for folks who, for everybody, this stream was originally supposed to be with Zeos, actually. And so we've upgraded to Mark Ryan.
I was going to say, so I was the fallback. That was the backup plan.
See, well, this is the thing, right? I was thinking about this.
It's weird to even frame it like that, honestly.
This is the thing, right? Like we wanted to have somebody on who
was a little bit different.
Is a bit different from Griffin and myself, and you're not. Like this is the problem: is that you have mostly correct opinions.
I take issue with that, actually. Like I said this when he was bringing it up. I was like, Mark is sufficiently different to.
Yeah, but this is the thing: is Mark has usually correct opinions, right? Like typically, the right views on things, and I wanted to bring in people who we would have more disagreement with, and I feel like for a lot of things, when I watch your videos, Mark, I find myself nodding, like not to sleep, but I find myself nodding as in like in agreement, like this is this is right, so
and likewise, so I understand exactly what you're talking about.
So I guess it's a downgrade in that sense, right? It's a downgrade for folks who are hoping for a little bit more spirited debate. But with that said, it's not like we were with Zeos. Like whenever I hang out with him at the trade show, no, it's not really, because it's like it's just a different type of thing,
and he's the kind of guy who he's been around long enough to like have his opinions, be pretty steadfast in them. So he'll just tell us we're wrong and not and further.
Exactly.
I must
so when we have you on, we will just sort of celebrate your correctness about things, and when we have Zeos on, he will just tell us that we're wrong about things, and that's how that's going to work.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I'm sure we'll have some disagreements.
Okay.
I feel like I haven't heard you say a good thing about an IEM in a long time. So,
yeah. Well, I wanted to
talk about that.
Well, actually, okay. So I wanted to, because you guys both went to CanJam, and you guys have heard a lot of the newer stuff that's come out. What's good these days? What have you been listening to? I watched your Lumen review, so yeah. What's been on your plate?
Everything is different in the IEM space since the last time you've been to a CanJam.
Okay.
That's not true.
It's like I definitely.
But it has been a long time since I've seen you at a CanJam.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lumen. Obviously, I don't know. Do we want to talk about Lumen now? Because we could probably make the entire stream about.
We might as well get the glazing out of the way so Josh can go to sleep.
And it's funny because I wasn't expecting the content on that to be controversial, but apparently it is.
In a couple of ways, actually, interestingly. I'm curious which way you're thinking about, but I feel like Griffin's been engaged in kind of a holy war. Head fry about it.
So that's what I've seen. Yeah.
From the other,
it's not even about Lumen anymore.
No.
But from the other angle, when I posted my review, I got a surprising number of people like upset that the product was as expensive as it is.
Oh, interesting.
Which is understandable because it is an expensive product, but also it's understandable that it's expensive because of what it is.
Right. Right. And is it because your audience is typically used to less expensive products, more great value items?
I think so. Yeah. Typically, the stuff that I review ends up being somewhere between $200 to, let's say, $500, and like that's not even like the cheapest stuff. And in Chi-Fi, like I do review more inexpensive stuff, but usually is kind of like roundups.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess my audience is probably more used to me covering more mid-tier stuff, and I don't know. It's not like I've never reviewed more expensive things. Maybe it was just because I was so excited about this one.
You're not usually that positive on them.
Right. Well, and that's because usually the high-end stuff's not that great.
Right. So like here's a really expensive thing, and it's pretty decent. Like that message goes over well with my crowd, I guess. But this thing is expensive and also probably the best thing I've heard. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. So speaking of which, it is kind of unique that a IEM that expensive is going for a more normal sound signature, whereas a lot of everything else is sort of competing against. There's some flair, and I've spoken to manufacturers about this, and they've said that like they not all of them, but some of them have said that like when they're over past a certain threshold, they're intentionally trying to do something to the experience, not just give it flavor or whatever, right? Like not just have it be plain water, but the best of water, right? So when something comes out that is more water-ish, right, more just like neutral, it's kind of it's almost like jarring to have it be at that price, because it's not imparting a thing to the music.
But here's what was really surprising to me about the Lumen is that I feel like it does. Like it there's like, I wish I understood this more. I wish I was like, building the thing and like kind of seeing the before and after and like the shaping of the frequency response. But there is something about it where like it just kind of like clicks into place, and all of those things, those tactile ASMR qualities that I'm looking for, like they show up in a frequency response that is otherwise neutral-ish.
So I have a theory about this. Well, I have several theories about this. I don't know if any of them are correct. That's just the way I think about things. I've often found that like when people are chasing the technicalities thing, they do so in one of two ways. One is through that sense of unveiling, and the other is through a sense of coloration. But with the former, with that sort of sense of unveiling, one of the consequences I find is it's for a lot of people, they can turn the volume up a lot more, and that makes it so that a lot of those things are they're louder. You can hear more of those things in the music because you're able to turn the volume up more without feeling like your eardrums are being flayed. And I wonder if something like that is going on with the Lumen or just products like that, also in the context of the problems with IEMs and length modes and all of that stuff, where it's hard to know, even for something like the Lumen, where it's tuned in such a way that it's, you could turn the volume up more. You can't always predict that you're not going to have length mode problems, right? So that's why the conversation around this one it's a weird one for me. Whereas a lot of the other IEMs that are tuned a lot more esoterically, it's like they're going to have those problems anyways. But there's now a ton of other colorations going on as well, so it's like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think your first theory is actually fairly interesting, because one of the things I noted at CanJam when people were listening to both Lumen and Lux is that the quiet volume listeners like Crin and DMS, like easy preference for Lux over Lumen. But if you listen to Lux at a much lower listening volume, it kind of sounds like Lumen, like at my normal listening volume.
Oh, interesting. I haven't tried that.
It's worth trying. I mean, it's not exactly the same because obviously the bass and treble aren't like an exact equal loudness contour.
Right. Human anatomy just perfectly predicted that Q value.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that sounded very good on Lux on low volume. And if I were listening to that same volume on Lumen, I would probably feel things to be a little bit indistinct and a little bit, just kind of missing, I think, something. But I mean, I think, Andrew, you'll remember the first time I talked about Lumen publicly was on one of our live streams. And I also said it was one of the most like technical IEMs I had heard, because it did everything well. It wasn't just the case where it's like, oh, this is really detailed, or oh, this is really spacious, or any one of those things. It was just a very nice balance of all of those things with really no weaknesses.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was concerned when, and I talked about this a little bit in the review. Like I pre-ordered it because I was kind of just supporting Josh, and I expected it would be a good earphone. Like, I didn't think he was going to make a bad earphone, but I wasn't sure that I was going to hear this and hear something that was significantly different than like Crin's $300 reference, which kind of was my expectation. It's like, yeah,
you guys heard that one as well at CanJam.
Yeah,
we did.
Okay.
Mark, you have one on the way to you now.
Yeah, should be here hopefully soonish. So sorry, I can't remember exactly where I was going with that conversation, but basically I was very surprised that it had those technical qualities. Not that like the reference doesn't per se, but it has it. I guess it does it in a little bit of a drier kind of presentation. Maybe it's because the Lumen's got more bass. I think it's maybe a little bit more contrasty at 1K. I think those two things combined just give it like this really satisfying tactility that is, it sounds like an expensive earphone. Like it doesn't sound like it's lacking for the technicalities that you expect in an expensive earphone. It just does it in a way that it's not obfuscating any of the details, and the vocals sound fantastic, which is what I'm always looking for.
In a way, it's revealing that the technicalities are in the music and in your head, and the relationship between the music and your head.
No. And in the cables. Don't forget the cables.
Right, okay, of course.
Don't forget the cables that we swapped out immediately.
That's true.
Yeah. Right, good point. I guess, Griffin, just to get to some of the controversy and why something like this is controversial, what is your sort of characterization of, or your explanation for why your article in particular has engendered some pushback?
I mean, I would say very little of it has to do with people's opinion on Lumen itself as a product or anything like that, which is, apologies to Josh, but I did use Lumen as a springboard to talk about
to take shots.
The thing I've been talking about the whole time with this shit, which is that, none of this new meta stuff is all that appealing or good to me. And even more is really indicative of what I think a high-end product should be, which is just minimal compromise across the board. Meant the best way to exemplify that was to kind of compare it to everything else and give a little bit of a rant on where I feel the market continuously, seemingly purposely, as indicated by what you say about manufacturers above a certain price chasing coloration, because that's what's expected of people or expected of brands. So I talk about that in the review, and I think rightfully so, the people who are kind of orthogonal to that viewpoint disagreed. And the people that are happy with the market the way it is and don't think they're being taken advantage of or served low effort slop, they don't think so. So obviously they disagree with the message of that part of the piece. But I think it's important to say that, like, I don't think Lumen itself is a controversial product at all. I think if anything about the product has been controversial to anyone, it's been that some people are upset that they can't afford it. But that's not an issue for the water coolers, for example. They're more upset that I was pointing out what I see as pretty existential issues with the high-end market.
I don't follow what those folks are into nearly as much, so I could be totally wrong here. But one of the reasonable one of the things that's at least in my head right now, sort of interesting about this is a lot of what you just talked about, Griffin, your sort of exposition of ideology or grandstanding, at least in their mind, maybe that's the wrong soapboxing. Yeah, that's the right word. Soapboxing was
it was pretty direct. It wasn't just in the eye of the beholder sort of thing.
No. But the funny thing about it is that it was a little bit railing against new meta. I don't know if that's even the kind of sound signature that those folks were all that taken with to begin with. Like, what I mean by this is there are good things about new meta, very good things about new meta. The best thing about it is that Mark coined the term, and now we can attribute and blame it Mark. No, the mid range, right? Like we would all celebrate the mid range and the ear gain for new meta as being like an important step in the right direction, right? I don't know if that's when we're looking at where the criticism or sort of controversy for some of the narrative around Lumen and this kind of thing is coming from. I don't know that that's necessarily for the celebration of new meta.
Yeah, right? No, it's not. It's not at all.
So that's why it's a little bit cross purposes.
They're not taking issue with that part. Like they're taking issue with my statements about the IEM market more broadly, which is fair. I think they're wrong, but
well, I don't know. I was thinking about this a little bit because like there was the one guy that you were getting into it. And sorry, I've been following the thread. I've been lurking. I haven't been posting because I don't know. I'm worried that people are gonna take away from this, some sort of animosity toward Lumen. I'm like, oh, I don't want that. But
thankfully, the actual discussion in the thread has gone quite well.
Yeah, I agree. But there's that one guy that's arguing with you, and like he, at one point references a Mercedes-Benz as kind of like an equivalent. Like this is an expensive thing that is really good, and I can afford it. Kind of equivalent to maybe the IEMs that he has in mind, and as a car guy, I'm like, I don't know if I don't really want a Mercedes-Benz. Like, and maybe there's like a value system difference there. It kind of reveals a very different.
Well, yeah, I think there very obviously is.
Right, and I think that's also going on with the IEM stuff, right? It's not just, well, I don't know. It's hard to say how I would summarize what you are looking for in sound quality, but that's not what they're looking for, and they're looking for, maybe a certain level of excitement, but they're also looking for a certain level of prestige. They're looking for these things, there's this community, this tight-knit community that is, I guess, kind of self-motivated to buy it and check out these new IEMs, which is just a very different thing. And yes, I can't afford to do that. So I'm just not interested in participating, I guess. Like that just doesn't appeal to me at all, in the same way that like a really expensive Mercedes-Benz does not appeal to me.
Yeah, but I don't know if that would change if you suddenly had a bunch of money. Like, I don't think, I think you would be more interested in exploring those things, but I'm not sure you would really find anything that you like more.
I agree, because my value system is, I think, probably more built into me versus like how much money I have at any given moment, is more of a transient thing. Maybe if I became rich for like the next 10 years or something like that, after 10 years, what I'm looking for might start to look different than what I was looking for 10 years ago. And it is because, of, I guess, what I can afford, but also it's because of, the culture that I'm steeped in. It's all kinds of things that are now different that I think the implied assumption or the implied message is that these things sound better and you would want them if you could afford them, which is not where we are.
That's not. Yeah. I think with stuff like this, I feel like part of it has to also do with the default assumptions that when we're attributing value to any of these products, it has to do with the product itself that is immutable, that is this fixed thing that is like of a certain value.
Yeah.
When in reality it's so much more based around the, like, well, I mean, I don't want to get overly nerdy with this, but like even just some of the stuff that we've been doing with Blocked Canal, GM1 stuff, right? Where it's like it's so it's so related to like the relationship between that product and how it is being worn, the HRTF of the person, all these sorts of things. And I feel like the more of that stuff I go into, it's like it's impossible to attribute that same kind of idea of value to any of these products. At least in my mind, like it gets to a place where it's like, I mean, you've touched on this as well, Mark, in one of your videos where you talk about how an IEM choice to purchase or whatever is a much more or highly personalized choice, or very, very personal choice. And I think this was in your response to
Right.
a video I did where you're roasting with facts and logic or whatever. But it's true. And we have data to sort of support that, right? But that's not what I see happening in these places where people are extolling the virtues of the luxury IEM. I see attributions of it is this way. It is, it has this quality about it, and maybe that's part of why there's. I don't know. I see that as kind of like a problem with the discourse, a little bit, and I don't actually think there's a solution.
Well, no, I'm not going to say there's a solution, but I was able to get into that stuff in the thread. Like I very specifically used the difference between you and I as an example.
Yeah.
And how your longer canals are going to engender more low treble and upper mid issues than I would ever experience with an IEM. How your overall larger volume is going to mean you need a little bit more warmth to balance things out. And how our HRTFs are different. Like you can spell all of that out for people in a way that, anyone at least somewhat familiar with IEMs would be able to unpack. But you have to have both the
opportunity
to do so in a conversation that is ongoing. Yeah. Like you can't just drop that shit in the water cooler thread apropos of nothing. But you also have to take the time to explain it patiently. And I'm not going to say I changed any minds in that thread, but it seemed clear that I gave some people some stuff to think about that they weren't thinking about prior, which is, all we can hope for, really.
Even just the differences that when I was doing the member stream with the Meze Astru and the Cielo, where I compensated with, because I measured both on the 5 and 2.8, and then I could use the different JM1 based, shout out to Joel in the chat, by the way, JM1 based DFs for Griffin, myself. I don't know if we had anybody else, but at least for Griffin and myself.
We just did us two, but we did yours also with a closer to you insert depth. So
yes. So we're trying to get the perfect picture of how each of us is going to hear these products. And it's so wildly different.
Wildly different.
And, and it's like, if people understood that, it would actually be the ammunition that they would need, or not ammunition, but it would be the information that they would need to, well, A, much better navigate the space, but B, be able to be more secure in the conversations that they have about the products that they love. Right. And I feel like that's where some of this tension lives, is in that insecurity of this is this amazing thing because I had an amazing experience with it. Here's Griffin coming along telling me that it's terrible, telling me that I'm wrong, and I feel like if they had all this the same information, it would go a long way to improving that,
Yeah, it is interesting because to some degree that addresses what the water cooler guys are talking about, because they're putting technicalities on a pedestal.
Yeah, and
that's very much the sort of thing that is influenced by these variations that we're talking about. But also, if you were to science a $50 earphone into sounding exactly the way that their more expensive earphone does, I don't think that they would be like, oh, okay, we did it, we achieved it for $50. They'd be like, no, this still sucks.
Yeah, you see, this is my Toyota Corolla is better than your Maserati or whatever.
Yeah.
I promised Griffin we wouldn't talk about cars, so we should talk about cars.
Oh. I actually am curious. What is so I'm not a car guy at all. Is there an example of a buy hard car, like a car that is just expensive, but it's actually terrible? The one I go to in my mind is Corvettes.
No, Corvette's a good car.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
See, I don't know anything about it.
Unfortunately, Corvettes are a good car because they're only driven by a very specific demographic, and it's just that's not the demographic you want to be.
Right.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, but I am curious if there's a car that kind of fits.
Maserati actually is a pretty good call, because they're expensive. They're look cool. They're kind of sexy, but they're also known for breaking down. They're not super high performance or anything like that. It's just a cool looking car that will probably be sold for about 50% its initial price in a couple of years, because the valuation just drops. And that's true of a lot of expensive cars. So that guy I mentioned, we were talking about Mercedes earlier. You can get a $200,000 Mercedes for probably $50 grand a couple of years later. just because they're not very reliable. They're very expensive to repair, and they're luxurious, sure. But I would personally rather have a Honda Civic, which would break the brain of a person who, you know, is shopping for a Mercedes-Benz, a $200,000 Mercedes-Benz. But again, it kind of comes down to the value system. It's like, for me, I want to make sure, I want to have a car that works every time I turn it on. It's not in the shop all the time. I have to worry about that stuff. And for them, maybe they don't care. They've got 2 other cars. That one will be in the shop for a couple of weeks, whatever. And like that, those are like real material things that change the value system.
And that's okay, right? Yeah. Like it's not a bad thing to have that other value system. It's just that I feel like the recognition of that is not bidirectional, right? Like you, person who is a Honda Civic enjoyer, me who is a Toyota Corolla enjoyer, we can have this sort of understanding of like, it's okay that, you know, like a, you know, less practical car is something that somebody else might prefer because it's fancy or whatever, right? Something they like about it. But I feel like for a lot of people, it's hard. Maybe it's just in our space, but like it's hard to have that same kind of look the other way. Say like, well, this is impractical, but I like it. You know?
Right. Yeah. And like, it's not that. Look, I have 300 earphones over here in a cabinet. That is very impractical. I understand. So it's not that I'm beyond, or I'm just the most practical person, and I only make practical decisions, and anything that disagrees with me is impractical and stupid. I'm impractical in a lot of ways.
You have a Miata, right?
I do have a Miata, exactly. I don't have a Honda Civic. I have a
Miata. Yeah. I was going to say that the all cars are buy hard cars unless they're a Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla. But no, that's a joke. Yeah. Mostly.
They're good cars, man. Like if you're just looking for something that goes, and it's actually it's like, they're just good cars, especially nowadays. There's not really much of a compromise.
Yeah.
It does kind of lead me to the question of when it comes to the idea of luxury in these Mercedes IEM enjoyers' minds. Like, do you think it's solely down to looks and price? Because I just feel so often that high-end products just aren't actually luxury feeling.
Well, looks, price, and treble.
Sure, I was talking about like
trifecta
factors. Okay, because
the looks is particularly funny because they look so like when Headphone does the videos where they talk about what's coming out for CanJam. My favorite part is just to speed run through the IEM section and take screenshots of how silly looking some of these $10,000 earphones look. It's like, I cannot. It started with the Campfire audio trifecta, which was just there are literally people excited about putting something that looks like testicles in their ear.
The balls.
An all-time great of IEM design.
But that was just the beginning. I feel like they're even worse.
I feel it's that one has come full circle because it's now charming and adorable because you're like, I got the balls IEM.
I love that you're doing this.
That's what it is.
I know. The fact that they launched that
for your ears.
With they literally had like a stand like
I remember that.
Literally presenting.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's fantastic. I love it. I'm reminded of there was, I'm not sure if it was the last Munich High End, but maybe the one before that. I met a guy there who was I think he was either Swiss or Austrian. In my head it's Swiss, and he was making a $10,000 IEM or something ridiculously expensive. But part of the appeal, a big part of the appeal was intended to be that same idea of like, you know, a nice high quality watch. And that kind of stuff has nothing really to do with the function, right? Like it's not it does the function, but it's not about that, right?
Yeah.
It's much more about the precision with which it is, you know, machined or whatever else, right?
Which I have some appreciation for. In fact, I think that's part of why I prefer analog earphones to Bluetooth stuff is I like the craftsmanship.
Does some of that go away when you're dealing with something like the Audio Hype 4 or you know, I pick a you know, new meta mid-level IEM of some sort.
Does what the interest in the
versus something like a Lumen or a
not entirely. I mean, to some degree, like a mass-produced KZ is not that interesting to me in terms of like a thing, like an object that is desirable in and of itself, and but maybe something like a Moondrop LAN, a $40 earphone, like can be that. So it's not really tied to price, and it's more probably down to maybe how it sounds to me was definitely a big part of it. And then does it feel like something that somebody cared about when they made it? I guess I don't know.
Does it spark joy? I gotta be honest. It's probably because I'm dead inside, but like I struggle with identifying that same level of joy or value in that part of it. If it,
this is why you like EQ.
Why what? Yeah.
That's why you like EQ.
yeah, exactly. But it's I mean, I'm wearing them as a Strata right now. I understand the irony of that, but I've EQ'd this to the high heavens, right? Like this is the most EQ'd headphone, and the reality is it is comfortable for me, and I like the way that it feels on my head. Like all this stuff is great, and I'd rather wear this than HD 505 or something, that feels a little bit,
right.
But at the same time, when it comes to what I care about most with these devices, these are accessory devices that are music delivery, playback, equipment, where the real thing that I get joy from is how a well EQ'd headphone delivers my music. Like that's the stuff. And maybe it's because like my attention towards artistry is specifically localized towards the music in that moment, right? And I struggle to really identify that with the physical design of the object. But like I take something like a D1 here, and this is the perfect aesthetic. I don't want it to be anything other than this, because I want, it's fine. It's nothing. It's nothing bad about this.
But it is nicer than the Sennheiser 5 series you talked about.
Sure, it's nicer than the 5 series, yeah. But it's not about. It's extra regular for the aesthetic and all of that, where really the thing that I'm appreciating when I'm using it is the artistry of the music. And I'm just wired in a way to not be able to appreciate less the gloriousness of all of this.
Well, I don't think you have no appreciation for that.
None. But it's harder for me to get up in the morning.
Well, you're into photography, right? To some degree, like you like Fuji cameras. Is that right?
I'm using one right now. Yeah. So I was actually just complaining about it to Griffin earlier.
Sure. The Fuji camera is like the decision you make more so on heart. The Sony camera would be like the camera you make, from the brain.
Yeah, from the balls. This is my Sony right here. So yeah, I use both. I got both. Yeah. Okay. But really, if I could go back in time and buy a different camera other than the Fuji, I probably would.
Fair.
Yeah, but you're right. There's something about the tactility of using the Fuji camera that is fun.
Mm-hmm. And I think there are certain high-end products that do like give that impression across more than, say a Pipe 4 or whatever, right? Like obviously I think the Lumen is one of them, but even the more esoteric stuff, like I got to try the Noble Onyx this year at CanJam, and it's one that I've wanted to hear for a few years. So I won't lie, I went into it with the idea that I would like it, but I liked it more than I thought I would. And one of the best parts about it was that it's like visually very beautiful and interestingly constructed.
That's the lower ear gain one, right?
Yes, it's very dipped around 3K. I actually think you might like it.
I know, I have heard it, and I did like it. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Interesting. I would have guessed that after we did all of the testing, where it turns out you just because of how IEMs are instantiated in your ears and your HRTF, you were just going to hear relatively a lot more 3K than I am.
Yep. Kai brought it to this was back in the Vancouver days.
Right.
Kai brought it and we were trying it.
Guys. Yeah. This was
Blaine liked it too, weirdly enough.
Canal transfer function.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was surprised that Blaine liked it too. Like we were both like, "Wow, that's very good sounding," and then we measured, and we're like, "Huh, that's interesting."
Well, look, if you measured it again today, but with whatever you would do now to better reflect your own circumstance, you probably get a better idea of why it works for you. For me, I think it is just that like the colorations really, really work for me.
Yeah,
it's a thick boy, and I love it.
It's a bit the Odyssey kind of thing, you know, but with
yeah. Especially because like it has the dipped ear gain, but it has kind of a centering of its energy in the center mid range. Like it's got this push there that keeps things from sounding slow. It's a pretty snappy listen in a way I wasn't quite expecting. That's kind of what surprised me most about it. Because I wasn't sure it was going to be too warm or something like that, but it really wasn't. So I think that is kind of an Odyssey-like thing.
But you were saying how one of the things that you appreciated about
it's beautiful. Yeah. It's got this really interestingly like textured, shiny faceplate, and apparently it's actually wood.
Oh, interesting. It looks carbon. It almost looks like carbon fiber that had like water stain on it or something.
Yeah. No, I was very surprised to learn it was wood because of how kind of three-dimensional and textured it looks, both in pictures and in person. But yeah, apparently it's wood, which was very interesting to me. So I feel like, you know, a lot of the times the thing that kind of pulls me out of being able to see a high-end IEM as a product of like love and like real intentionality is that a lot of them are just fucking ugly. And like even if there was intentionality there, if they're that ugly, the intention was wrong.
Right. The gaudiness.
But I think a lot of them just, you know, their ergonomics are kind of also the thing that stops me from being able to feel it's like a luxury, like intentional, you know, this product is made to be worn and used product. But maybe, you know, the intention there is that they just put it on a shelf and look at it.
I have a question for Mark Ryan. What is in the spirit of that? What is your favorite looking IEM?
Well, so I was actually kind of teeing this up. I don't know if this is necessarily my answer to that exact question, so I'll try and answer both. But
sure,
I talk about this on Pink Noise, so Griffin's probably tired of hearing me talk about this. But this is a Campfire Audio Aura. This is one of my most used earphones. It is not because it is the best sounding earphone. It is because it sounds fine. Like it's a sound that works for my use case, which is sleeping, and it fits nicely. But it also just kind of like, I love it as an object. I think it's a beautiful thing. It is made out of pure titanium. There's something about that is appealing. It is a simple aesthetic. It doesn't look too different from other Campfire audio earphones, but I guess because it's not an anodized aluminum, it's not wearing and chipping over time. It just kind of is a beautiful object. I don't know that I would say that this is the most beautiful earphone, but I don't know. As an object that I own, it might be one of my favorites. Just, I don't know.
I like it. That take. I love the Campfire shell, honestly.
Yeah. Looks great. Simple, clean, classy. They did a great job with that kind of styling. And I also like, obviously I like the color of the Aura. Aura is a lot of people didn't like it.
Right.
Whatever reason, it worked for me. Like it didn't have enough bass. But apart from that, like the treble didn't kill me, which most IEMs it does.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like it. I mean, again, it sounds good enough, but I know enough to recognize, like, if I got that sound in an earphone that looked like crap, I would just be like, I don't want to listen to this.
Right. So the looks matter here for this one.
100%. Yeah.
No.
But yeah, it's not because it sounds bad. It just doesn't. It doesn't sound like Lumen.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe just to answer the question more directly, like my favorite looking earphones are generally like, I think the clear acrylic or poured resin ones are my favorite. Like Moondrop S8.
Oh, is interesting. Oh yeah, that's
kind of my idea.
With that sort of beveled edge to the thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a handsome IEM. I mean, I think I also like the clear resin ones when the internals are like really visible.
Yeah, like when it's like glass-like and it's like almost like bending the light and like, oh my gosh, it can look really good.
Yeah, it's hard not to like that.
Yeah. Griffin, what about you?
Oh, it's Lumen. Yeah.
Lumen,
I mean, yeah. Like I like the clear shell thing. I don't like it as much as something that is just kind of like monochrome, very what's the word? Not coherent, but kind of I don't know, just simple. Like I like simple done well, and I feel like the same thing I like about the poured resin, that it lets you see all the internals, kind of makes it a little bit more cluttered of a thing when you look at it. I think the S8 balances it well by having a very handsome faceplate. So I would say that and like the Blessing 3 in particular and the Aqua are like a good example of balancing that busyness with a very like plain but still handsome faceplate. But yeah, the fact that Lumen is like all just one color and the curves are very soft, and the texturing of the aluminum is nice, and it's just my color as well. Like I love that color, and that the faceplate is like the opposite of branding on a faceplate that we usually get, where it's like seemingly intentionally not trying to show you the branding, but it's there if you look hard enough. And then there's just a slight textural difference due to the smokiness of the glass. Like, yeah, I am almost certain how I feel about the IEM sonically is biased somewhat by my feeling about how it looks.
I was gonna ask if that's the inverse. If you're if you're now able to appreciate its looks more because
No, see, so Josh has had so many different versions of this shell over the last few years, and I liked the first version. Like I liked the second version. I liked the third version. Like I think just the ideation at its core that went into it, like as a design philosophy, is just one that gels with my idea of design and what it should be. So actually, I think there were earlier versions I liked a little bit more. Like there was a version that didn't have a faceplate at all. There was no cutout for it. It was just flat. So even more like something like an AirPods Max, where it's just like a completely just nothing on the external facing part. But then the branding was where the venting currently is. So like I forgot I'm on the Osmo. So like right there, instead of a vent, there was just a little Prisma logo. And I think like ultimately I would have preferred that. This is still my favorite looking of all time, but I just think in general Josh's approach to design is just frankly just more educated and refined than most people making a product.
I was waiting for the alien brain version, but that one never
That's the thing. Campfire has like absolute bangers of design. Like obviously the Aura is great, but I really like the Moon Rover too. Like the black with the iridescent nozzle and I think vent as well. Awesome looking. But then they have real bangers like the alien brain, which is such a crackhead fucking idea. I can't help but respect it.
I'm not familiar with this.
Oh,
really?
I'm looking at it. I'm trying to look it up now. No, it looks like a pill bug.
I mean, yes, comma. It looks worse than a pill bug.
No, I like this. What are you talking about? This is great.
That's the thing. I like it too. Like it's so insane that I can't help but kind of love it.
Yeah,
I know, and it makes it look cheap to me. But
well, yeah, no, it absolutely does. But I don't care.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you, Andrew? Like, do you have any like tops for IEM looks?
Symphonium Helios.
It's a good answer.
OG?
Yeah.
Good answer. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's also a very Andrew answer.
Of course,
I will say.
of course, right? But no, no, you can't wear the thing. No, it's so uncomfortable. I just like the way it looks. No, but I echo what Mark Ryan was saying about the Aura and those designs. Like, I wish more. Like, this is my sort of complaint with the IEM industry is that everybody is trying to they're doing the arms race of eye catching, of ear jewelry, and that kind of thing, and really that doesn't speak to me at all. I much
Especially
prefer
the expensive ones are just
well, but in a way it's like that kind of goes hand in hand with that. Yeah, like whereas something like the Hexa and the Pure, like that sort of styling is really and Campfire's stuff, the older stuff.
Have you seen Lumen in black?
No, but that would
Lumen
be the perfect.
Is so hot in black, Andrew.
That would be Josh. Hit me up.
Although the green one is on the way to you.
Yeah. I gotta listen to it. I gotta review it. So
it's like imagine it the Lumen, but like plasti dipped black. Like it's kind of like
I feel like it's even sexier than. But because like what's interesting about the black is it actually shows the branding a lot more prominently because there's more contrast.
Right. The thing that I always think about with this kind of stuff is like for those of us in this space and the people watching, most people watching, everybody is way too comfortable wearing stuff that looks absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not.
Normal people don't want to wear stuff like that, and I feel, I mean, like what? Even the stuff that is like classy and good looking, like again, it's a lot, right? And it's drawing attention, right? And it's like I want things to not draw attention. I want things that I can wear. Or that a normal person could wear, because I'm not. Let's take me out of the equation. That a normal person could wear in a business meeting and not feel like a fucking moron. That's what I want, and I want the market to serve that, because I feel like a lot of people. We talk about that thing about like like the things that matter the most. That matter the most for people when they're buying headphones and IEMs and audio products, and sound quality is just one of those things that ranks highly, but the looks ranks extremely highly, and I feel like that is just a section, a part of product development that's just completely like gone from the equation, or like it's like gone in the wrong direction for a lot of these products, right? Because they're serving a market that's like ooh, shiny, or whatever.
Very much, and I think people very much underappreciate how big of a delta there is between what audiophiles are attracted to aesthetically versus what normal people find cool.
Normal people would find this totally fine.
They would find it fine.
But that's the thing. I don't think normal people would ever think an earphone looks cool.
No, but it's not about it looking cool. It's about it not looking like anything, right? Like you're like, you're an audio dork.
Here's an example of an aesthetic thing that I think people don't, like, nobody is addressing, is there's a number of people who ask me for recommendations for earphones that don't have the cable going over the ear. Like having the cable going over the ear is a thing that people don't want to be doing because it's weird.
I agree. Yeah, I get it.
I think it's better. So I want that. I want the over ear.
But I would say visually it is less clean. And,
visually it is more weird.
It is more nerd.
More weird.
You're like, you're doing. It's. I wonder why that is, but you're absolutely right that it is more weird. And I feel like it's because there's more, like when you see a person wearing an IEM with an ear hook, that immediately denotes more effort went into into using this product. So you clearly are a nerd. I remember I've told the story before, but like I remember when I was in grad school and I had I think it was the VSonic GR07s, and those go around the ear, right? I believe they do. Yeah. And so like for me, like I was poor, but I was still an audiophile, right? So like I'd ride my bike everywhere. We'd meet up and like at various people's apartments and have drinks and parties and whatever. And I remember a buddy, a fellow student, was telling people about his IEMs, or not IEMs, but like earbuds with the flat cable, and it went straight down. And it was it was a red one. I forget the name of it, but it was like, it was ubiquitous. It was everywhere.
Was it Beats?
It wasn't Beats. No, it was. Oh, I can't remember the brand, but it was like just a really common earbud that had a flat cable going straight down, and everybody was sort of drawn to it, right? Like he was showing it off, and be like, oh yeah, these are I use these, and they're blah blah blah.
And you were the kid in the corner of the party being like, they don't even know how hard my IEM.
Okay, and this is the thing is I saw him bring out the earbuds, and I was like, oh, he's talking about his audio product. Like, let me show you the one that I use, right? And I was showing people like the GR07, and immediately as soon as I put it over my ear, you went, oh yeah, that doesn't look nerdy at all. You look super cool right now.
Get
So I was
fucking
like,
roasted.
yeah,
dude.
and I was like, oh, you know what? Like you're right. Like
Yeah.
people wear those like, you know, more generic looking ones on the bus, you know, like that's
like the white earpods cable is not just not nerdy, like it is a cool aesthetic.
Yes, it has become drip. Yes.
It's yeah. So I mean, like it's the Chad, you know, the flat earbud thing going down enjoyer versus the Virgin GR07 over ear hook enjoyer. So, you know, but they're right. Like it's like there's not enough stuff that's made that way, you know.
No, but that does seem to me like something that could change if normal people started realizing that all like their favorite famous pop stars are wearing earphones with,
and I think it has.
Yeah.
Like through the
K-pop stands, it has.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's changed for anyone else.
Well, I don't know. Like for the more ubiquitous IEMs have become in music, like live performances, and just when people are seeing them, I think the more normal. Again, I'm not gonna say they're normal because you have to be in it, right? But like I've seen, you know, a lot of people not bat an eye at like the Shure SE whatever, right? Like that's so ubiquitous these days. And I think maybe even like just 10 years ago that would have been like, whoa, like what are you doing? But maybe 15 years ago. But like you get my point. Like the more people see this stuff in the wild, I think
it would also depend on if you yourself look like a musician.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But
what does a musician look like?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
Andrew,
I feel like the over the ear hook thing doesn't bother me as much.
You could. You've got a nice microphone in front of you.
Back
maybe like
that's a streamer indicator now. Microphones aren't used for music; they're used for streaming. Mark,
not that microphone though. That looks like a
you gotta have a pop filter
microphone. If you had like the SMB whatever.
I don't know. That's basically like the RE20 is basically the other famous broadcast microphone.
Yeah.
So like,
no, you have to have a pop filter, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure it has as much of a ubiquity behind it. I mean, certainly not actually, but I think
I don't have nearly the style to be music aesthetic vibes musician looking person. I don't think like as a guy who used to hang around with musicians, I don't have the style for it. And by that I mean a drummer.
Yeah.
Griffin knows. Yeah.
I think most of our audience knows at this point.
Yeah.
But that actually brings me back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, which is, I don't know. I think we all share a differently in terms of degree and type maybe, but similarly utilitarian approach to all of this stuff. We want these things to be good so we can use them and, listen to our music in the way that I guess individually we all gather it's supposed to sound. Mark, do you have any experience playing music?
No. The only experience I had playing music, I did exhibit recently in one of my videos. I can't even remember which one it was, but I played Mary Had a Little Lamb on my touch-tone phone.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I played like the recorder in, I don't know,
So
5th or 6th grade or whatever.
Hell
And
yeah.
that's the extent of my music playing. Yeah.
Recorder, arguably one of the most underrated instruments. And I'm not joking.
It probably is but yeah, I can't think of any music.
Most people's experience with recorder is hearing the people in their class just blowing into it as hard as they can and it being like an ear-splitting, terrible sound.
We need like a modern Jethro Tull that just brings the recorder back. Yeah.
But genuinely, I do love flute a lot in terms of its like timbre.
Jazz flute.
It's a quite harmonically simple but very high-pitched instrument. It's really delicate sounding because of it. And I feel like recorder is very similar, but it's a lot easier to play. So I feel like a lot of records that sound like they have flute on them are actually using recorder.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because they're easier to record as well because you're blowing directly into a tube with no air leaking out of your mouth, so you don't get as much of like a breathy sound to it. Whereas with flute, you got to do the whole thing, and some air is hitting it and escaping, some air is just going straight out, and yes, some air is going into it.
I actually prefer the way the flute sounds over the recorder because of that, though, because I think that adds a textural element.
You want ASMR shit. Yeah,
that's right, exactly. How do you feel about oboes?
Love them.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
They're a very strange instrument. I think if you like aren't familiar with what it sounds like, and then you hear it alone for the first time, you're like, this shit sounds honky and nasal as fuck. But it has this reediness to it that
when it's done well,
so appealing.
And with the right layering of the rest of whatever it's with, it just cuts through. It's the electric guitar of the olden era.
No, it's 100%. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. I do think I prefer clarinet to it in terms of its timbre, but oboe is such an interesting sounding instrument.
I was recently listening to. I was going down that rabbit hole a little bit of like weird instruments, or like not weird, but like not currently popular instruments. And the one that was the most interesting to me was the hurdy-gurdy. Have you listened to this? It's like old and medieval times kind of sound, but it's so cool, and it reminded me of an oboe a little bit.
Yeah, I've never heard of a hurdy-gurdy before in my life.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and I want that is played professionally by I think like less than 1,000 people in the world or something like that. Kind of a dying art, but yeah, it's a very interesting instrument, and it's kind of circuitous and overcomplicated, but it's fun.
When I grew up, my dad had all kinds of weird instruments. He didn't have a hurdy-gurdy, but he had a hammered dulcimer, and and hammered dulcimer is really cool.
Yeah, but it even just sounds cool.
Oh yeah, but it's kind of like a harpsichord, but like more manual.
Yeah, so it almost sounds like a harpsichord. The harpsichord uses feathers to pluck, whereas a hammered dulcimer uses hammers.
So it's like in between a harpsichord and a piano, kind of. Yeah. What's your favorite instrument, Mark?
I just don't know.
Other than
I'll be honest.
The human
recorder.
If I were to play an instrument, like the ones that are most appealing to me would be things like pianos or drums. Like I like, I don't know, tapping. I like percussion.
Right.
I tap on my table, and like
I
could see myself doing that as a music player, but it's very difficult. So
you might like the hammered dulcimer then.
Yeah, it sounds cool. It sounds really cool.
It's got hammers.
I would say it is a little bit less clean sounding than a piano.
Yes. But in a cool way. It's like I always, because growing up my dad was he's a classical and flamenco guitar player, music teacher, but also like that was his job, was to play concerts. So I constantly hear guitar, and I grew up playing piano. I loved the sound of the piano, and I remember having this argument with my dad. The reason why the piano is a better instrument is because it doesn't have that harsh initial transient. Obviously, it didn't say it that way because I was a kid, but I think, as I've aged, I've actually grown to appreciate that harshness and that sort of stridency that comes with the initial pluck of a guitar, or like a strum of a guitar, because it adds an element of rhythmic kind of gumption to the sound that the piano is just way more chilled out for.
Yeah.
So
I've actually expressed that in slightly less educated terms before, where I don't find a lot of piano music super satisfying. Like, it's not very audiophile, because it's just kind of, it ends up getting often recorded in mono, and it doesn't have sharp transients. And it's just like, it's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
I love the softness of a piano. I feel like that is one of the things it does really well versus other instruments, actually. Like when you think about other, like a guitar, for example, there's only so soft you can get it to sound before it sounds completely indistinct. Where I feel like a piano, obviously not in a busy mix, but you can play it really softly and it still sounds rich and inviting. But I was going to say the reason piano is better than guitar is that it's just buttons. You just
press
the button and the sound happens.
And the sound goes. Yeah.
For guitar, you have to spend like a few months just torturing your fretting hand into complying and learning to live with this instrument. Whereas piano, I mean, you have to do a little bit of that, but it's never as punishing on like the tips of your fingers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I like things like analog synth and even things like a Nord piano, is they introduce more of that micro texturing and ASMR quality. Yeah,
they do. Shouts out to Nord pianos, by the way. Sorry, the reason I bring all of this up is I feel like there is a kind of what Andrew was alluding to earlier, where he's talking about his value system is so entwined with the musicianship itself, like the music itself having a sound and wanting to interact as closely with that as possible, that the other things maybe end up being digested more as a distraction than, something that, someone from the water cooler thread might find an appealing extra sense of something. Not to say Andrew's completely devoid of any appreciation of that, but
just mostly.
Yeah. I do wonder if that has anything to do with how much exposure to real instruments you have. And certainly I think being a musician would expose you more than not being one. But I don't know. I feel like that's not ever really been researched or even really talked about in our space, because so many people just aren't musicians.
I'm not saying this is a perfect analogy with this thing. Maybe I'm totally off track here, but one thing that comes to mind is when I listen to music, I don't listen to lyrics. But I know for a lot of people, that's like the first thing that they focus. For me, it's like the lyrics, it's afterwards, right? Like if I really love a song and listen to it enough times, then I'll start to pay attention to lyrics. And I think for a lot of people, it's like, the first brush with any piece of music is okay, what's the song about? Can I vibe with the message? And for whatever reason, it doesn't work that way for me. So maybe it's like that with these products, where it's like the first brush with it is how it looks and how it feels and all of that, and that engenders an appreciation for the other aspects about it that I don't get. But
Mark, are you a lyrics person?
I find myself less into lyrics now than I used to be, and
Same.
I think a big part of it is that, like, for me, music used to be, the fun of it was like singing along, and I guess I don't do it so much anymore, if you can imagine. And so maybe that's part of why I don't pay attention to lyrics as much. Maybe that's entirety. Maybe it's also because I try to listen to more music, right? Sure. Like back in the day, you guys maybe not even old enough to remember listening to music on the radio, and like you had 40 songs that you basically listened to for the 3 months. And like, you just got really familiar with them, and so the lyrics became a very, it was impossible not to pay attention to the lyrics.
That was just in the clubs,
Yeah. But nowadays, obviously we've got so much music at our fingertips. I'm trying always to like push myself to find new music, and so I guess because of that, I just end up paying less attention to the lyrics.
Yeah.
For me, it was that earlier, in like when I was really voraciously consuming music, arguably more than I am now, actually. Music was a very like emotional thing for me, and it was very much about like, I was listening to a lot of like punk and emo music, so it was very about the lyrical message and how I felt that spoke to the internal struggle of my privileged suburban upbringing. So eventually that fell by the wayside, and I think with it, any care about lyrics at all, because I just became so much more focused on this. It probably coincided with me getting more into audiophile shit as well. Like I just became much more concerned with
technicalities
and making music. Wait, what'd you say?
I said technicalities. You became
man. It became all about technicalities. No, it became a lot more about, I think because it had coincided with both the audiophile and recording becoming more prominent in my life. Like, how did they make that sound? Like what is that sound ultimately comprised of?
Yeah.
Like, how was it recorded? How was it performed? And I feel like every single piece of music in my library has that. Like, you can unpack that from any piece of music if you want to. And I feel like unpacking that stuff is more interesting than unpacking the lyrics that they decided worked with the song.
The counterpoint to that is I struggle with it if the lyrics are actively making me cringe.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Like, I usually don't care, and then there's something comes along and like, that's a stupid fucking thing to say.
I feel like there was a period of time where I preferred listening to music in foreign language because of that. Like,
yeah,
if they're saying something stupid, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think the Venn diagram of people who privilege lyrics the most and the people who have had their HRTFs measured, there's probably not a ton of crossover.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Yeah, that is exactly like the distance between a normal person and a hyper fucking nerd too. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure there is a more hyper fucking nerdy thing than getting your HRTF measured.
Yeah, it was only a handful of people. I mean, certainly, like, of the people who have gotten their HRTFs measured, I don't even know if anybody else would be using them for this in this way. You know, like, I know that there's people who've gotten their HRTF measured for like the people in the Harman Sean's stuff that he did. I forget which one that was for, and then obviously anybody else in the Sonicom database. But like, I don't know anybody who'd be using it for this.
Yeah, I'm mostly using it for spatialization.
Yeah,
that's a funny thing to say. I was trying to think of a good analogy on the spot, but I can't. But it's almost like taking someone who is trained as like a helicopter pilot and then playing, some video game with that. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, you guys have powers you shouldn't have.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Or like becoming a black belt in jiu-jitsu to play Street Fighter or something like
that. That's exactly
it. It's like Eric Clapton playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least,
I mean, look, hopefully,
I was going to make an off-color joke there, but never mind.
Hopefully, and I am optimistic about this because of things I can't talk about, but hopefully the barrier to entry to HRTF acquisition will be meaningfully lower in the next few years. Again, I can't talk about why I'm optimistic, but I am.
I know why you're optimistic.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Maybe you do.
I do.
Okay.
We don't need to get into that now. But yeah, it is funny, like, after having gone through that exercise and then getting to, I haven't done this video yet, but I've been planning on kind of like a video on like, well, what does diffuse field actually sound like when it is in diffuse field in situ? And we've been obviously, I still needed to do the preference testing with Griffin's.
Still sounds bright.
Yeah, well, flat DF does, of course, but I think for a lot of people, they've listened to, they think they've heard the Harman target, right, or what the Harman target sounds like, because they've listened to a product that was either tuned to the Harman target, or they've applied an EQ profile that's meant to get something to the Harman target.
Or more commonly than either of those, the brand advertised it as being the
whether or
Harman
not
target, and no one checked.
And no one checked, yeah. So there's I think people have an idea, erroneous as it might be, fraught with problems as it might be, of what the Harman target sounds like. But I don't know if people have that same idea about DF.
No.
And so I don't know, like to me, it's like it really has been one of the things that's kind of shaken out from this is that, like, I am able to enjoy a brighter sound signature when it is flat DF in situ. Or not flat, when it is DF, like when the treble is DF in situ, I'm able to enjoy a brighter sound signature than I otherwise can. And I'm also able to turn the volume up. Yeah, because usually, you're getting like, for most headphone listening experiences and even IEM listening experiences, you're getting peaks in the treble. If you're able to equalize that out perfectly with DF, it's a different kind of. I describe it as an unveiling of things, and I've like, there's some headphones that kind of like by chance do that for me reasonably well, but like still not quite the same.
When you guys were in the anechoic chambers, did you listen to music at all?
No.
That would be interesting. Like, would that be pleasurable? Like flat speakers playing music in an anechoic chamber?
That is an interesting question, and unfortunately, they didn't have a setup that was conducive to that. Their speakers are very small and not really full range because they have to have a bunch of them. So we wouldn't have really been able to do that, at least in a way that would have been like a full range enough experience to like be, able to draw any conclusions from it.
Right.
I will say being in an anechoic chamber for a certain amount of time makes you feel weird.
I enjoy that.
Yeah. There's a weirdness about it. It's just because it's so different, But I want to get this back to the CanJam stuff because there's other stuff that you guys heard that I haven't heard. And there's stuff that I have heard, actually. Mark, did you get a chance to listen to the Meze Astro?
I did.
What were your thoughts?
I listened to it right after. So I put together a list of things I wanted to listen to at CanJam. And I don't think the Astro was one of them. I don't think I was maybe familiar that it was going to be there. But I had the Strata on my list. I was like, this is a new Meze. I've kind of been declining reviews of Meze stuff recently just because I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again. But I have an opportunity to hear it without reviewing it. I'll check it out. So I listened to the Strata. And it was like, this is treble hell.
You have the hope every reviewer on the planet has,
right?
Finally, Meze makes a normal sounding over your head.
Because they are so beautiful. Although the Strata, I gotta be honest, it was the most plasticky green. Didn't do it for me as much. But anyway, next to it was the Astro. I was like, oh, I'll check this out, and it was just like so much more pleasant. It's like these are probably made by or tuned by two completely different people.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Not surprising.
So with the Strata, I believe. Well, I don't know. This is just a guess as far as the measurements that I saw in Josh's review, which was from Meze, but it revealed like a very different treble profile from the one from this one. And also when I heard it last year at Munich High End, it didn't sound like this one. And so I feel like there's maybe some unit variation there. And the stuff that like this is, I'm not having the same experience that Josh Fowler had, or that, some other people had. But I did think it was funny that like somebody was saying that I failed the Strata where all these other reviewers didn't, but I was the only one who gave a negative review of it.
To be clear, we also don't know that Josh's unit measured like the one that
we don't, because that was supplied by them, right? So that's what I'm saying. At the very least, though, this is not like what they're measuring, because we're using the same equipment.
Sent the golden sample measurement, whereas
the measurement of that, but it's the equipment is the same, so it should be similar enough.
Same-ish.
The methodology is the same.
Well, the rig, I believe, at the time was slightly different because they had a 4620 and they needed to figure that out, right?
They had just the ears, so they needed to.
I believe. I could be wrong about this. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it was something like that. And they had to figure out how do we make it so that it's a human-like thing. I think now they have a 5128, or again, don't quote me on that, but I believe now they do. But either way, like the ear simulation would be the same, and so you'd think that much of it would be similar too. And I don't know that clamp force would be enough. Clamp force differences would be enough to reveal that much of a difference. So could be that it's just unit variation or production differences. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess I'm biased in that I went in there with a perspective or an expectation, and it kind of matched my expectation. And what you described matched my expectation. So I have that bias of saying like that. It seems unlikely to me that the answer is unit variation. It could be.
I mean, it's either that. I say it like this because I want to give other reviewers the benefit of the doubt and be like, what they heard, their experience is not my. Certainly, it's true that their experience wasn't going to be my experience because of HPTF differences. Weirdly, one of the best things about the Strata is it is actually very consistent in situ. Like it's one of the more consistent headphones, period. Like it's more consistent than open backs, surprisingly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like for positional consistency, obviously acoustic impedance is a variable there, but like for positional consistency, it's quite good. But I sort of just to get to the point, I liked to think that people are just having different experiences with it, and that's why the opinions would be so different. And it wasn't that anybody was. I don't like to. I'd be probably used to think stuff like this, but I don't like to think people are wrong. even in like HeadPhi threads, I don't like to think that what they're reporting is wrong. I think they're just having their experience and they're reporting it, and that's different from mine.
Yeah. How do you even then evaluate whether or not someone's wrong? And like a thing that I try to think of is like if someone's really excited about something in a review and a year later they don't care about it, that to me is kind of like the indicator that they were wrong. And I think that about myself. Like I look back at things that I've reviewed really excited about, and was I wrong at the time? I mean, maybe not. Maybe you could say that what I was looking for is different, but like,
yeah, I don't think
I'm still using it. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about it now. Then maybe I was wrong.
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. I look at it a little bit more like it's a matter of did you have the context? Because for most people who aren't reviewers, they don't have the context of the rest of what the sound quality can be, and certainly reviewers who haven't heard that, they also won't, right? So I can't say that someone was wrong about their like preference for whatever headphone it was if they hadn't if their list of alternatives is narrow. So like for a lot of people who aren't part of this hobby are like, well, we see it, Griffin, sometimes with like but when we're chatting with folks, we're like, oh yeah, try this headphone out, and they're new to this space, and they're like, oh my god, this experience is whatever. But
they've never about Ryan. I feel like you're talking about
Ryan. Yeah. but you get what I mean, where it's like the experience is of this incredible thing, and we're like, okay, but this is the only one that you've tried, or like these are the only ones that you've tried so far. So like wait until you get to hear this other
Ryan's
thing.
Tried a fair bit of stuff. Like
he has, and he's gotten into EQ. So it's like now that the perspective is opening up quite a bit. So it's like there is this element of, well, you just didn't have the context before, and now that thing before that you thought was amazing, maybe it's not as amazing. But I don't think that people are necessarily like, I don't think that it's fair to say, well, they just their opinion was bad or whatever, right? It's just their opinion was limited.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in the case that Mark presents specifically, as much as it would probably benefit our, I guess, perceived authority in this space to say the opposite, we're all constantly learning things about ourselves as reviewers. Like we have not arrived at our, final this form. Is my ideal, and everything that deviates from this is bad, especially because, our ideal is likely a gradient, not a single sound.
Well,
so I feel like there should be some allowances for,
differences.
I was excited about this headphone a year ago, but I'm less excited about it now.
But that seems like something that should probably be like less frequent the longer you're in.
The longer,
thing, right?
I agree.
Like
but
my favorites are not changing as much now as they were.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like when you first started, it's like, and I'm talking mostly about myself here, but like when first getting into this, it's like the preference variation is going to be extreme. 10 years in, it's pretty identified at that point.
Right.
But I also think like that to speak to what you're saying there, Mark, the idea of being wrong is a bullet I'm perfectly happy to bite, and always have been on this, where I think it's fine to just say like, yeah, I liked that headphone a few years ago, I don't anymore, I was wrong about that. I've grown as a person.
Sure.
Right. And I feel like there are also multiple reasons to get excited about a product that may not actually have to do with your enjoyment. So I have two examples. The first is one that it was in the past, and as a headphone I still use sometimes, but the Sennheiser HD 505 and 550. Like, I was excited about those headphones chiefly because of what they could have represented maybe a year after that review, which was if the prices went down, those would be insane value.
Dude, they are down in Canada.
Happen.
In Canada, those prices are, it was ridiculous, like $250 for a 550.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Canadian dollars
have gone down.
Like $30.
Yeah.
so because prices have gone down, they didn't for a while. So for a while I was feeling like, oh no, was I too excited about this?
Right. The 550 is more expensive than the HD 600.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think prefer it to HD 600 actually, but I don't think that would be true for most people, frankly. So in that review, I'm doing a lot of like, this is good, this is reasonable. People should be excited about something broadly like this coming to market because we don't get something like that all the time. We don't usually get a headphone that's just kind of reasonable top to bottom unless it's from Sennheiser. So that's cool. But I think what it really represented was something that was going to be more of a value cool than this sound quality is amazing and
it was competent.
It's up all the time.
Competence at a value price point, and if that value isn't there, then it's not as interesting.
Yeah, and like as a reviewer, I get arguably more excited about that because so much of what I do when I'm not reviewing is helping people find headphones that might be best for them in community spaces. And anything that makes my job easier in that regard or gives me more options to suit people once I've asked questions and determined what they like, that is very helpful to me, obviously, but it means the person on the other end of the help interaction can get something closer to what they may find ideal. But the second one is one that I haven't even gotten yet, but I am already less excited for it sonically for myself, but I'm very excited for what it's going to mean for other people, which is the Crinier reference. Lumen is goated as far as I'm concerned. But something quite similar, honestly, they don't really sound that similar to me, but I think the fact that it is similar enough.
Similar in aim.
Similar in aim, yes, definitely. And so much less expensive. And frankly, I tend to just go towards a warm neutral rather than a cold neutral, kind of like the Pure and Hexa. I think something that serves as a potentially more in line with what IEM fans who tend, I think, to lean a little bit brighter, will maybe find more in line with their expectation of like flat, existing at $350. That's very exciting to me.
Reference is brighter than Lumen is what?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So
cool. Okay. Mark, what were your thoughts on? Are you even allowed to talk about reference, given that it's not out yet? Or
what's the show? Heard it at CanJam. That's the only place I've heard it. Yeah, I don't have a review unit yet, so I couldn't even speak on that.
Okay. Sorry, you liked it? I was just asking what you thought on it.
Yeah, okay. I do like it. I think I'm probably aligned with Griff on this, and that like the Lumen somewhat steals its thunder a little bit, but that's for us that have the Lumen, and it's 3 times more expensive than the reference. So it is kind of hard to compare. But then also, in listening, like actually listening to them side by side, I did get a chance to do that. Like they do sound surprisingly different. Like there is more of a delta there than I expected.
And just from the measurements, what that would show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good sounding earphone. From what I remember, I do want to spend more time with it before I, of course, give it a review and a star rating or something like that. But I'm looking forward to it. It's also like it looks great. Like that's kind of back to what we were talking about before. It's like the physical form factor contributes to that, and I think it looks appreciably better than Crin's other stuff. At least I like the aesthetic of it better.
Yeah, no, I mean, agreed. It's funny at the show he was like, as soon as I hear one person complaining about the logo, I'm going back to text on the faceplate. I'm like, dude, no. People will complain about everything. You sell a gazillion IEMs, you're going to get at least half a zillion complaints.
Right. Interesting. So, I wonder what that feedback was like then. So is he anti-logo?
I don't know that he's anti-logo. I think for him, it makes more sense branding wise to have text.
Gotcha.
Because it gives people an idea of who made the thing more than a, more opaque, less obvious indication through the logo.
Fair enough. What if it was the Hangout Audio logo?
I would prefer that to the Cranier logo.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I don't know if I want Crin's cartoon face on my IEMs.
Well, I mean, it goes back to what we're.
It would. The thing is, it would have to coincide with a redesign of his approach to like visual design of IEMs. Like Crin is very much kind of in the Andrew school of like black or silver,
right?
And that's it. Although interestingly, I think Cypher or Nightfall is his best looking IEM, even with the text on the faceplate. I think the color is very nice, but Andrew would probably like that color too.
Yeah, I was just thinking of I remember my brother was asking me like what IEMs to buy, and that was right around the time when the Truthier Hexa had come out. And I was like, oh, you got to listen to the Hexa, the Truthier Hexa, and it has the logo is kind of like lettering on the, if I remember correctly, it's on the bottom part of it, and it says Truthier.
Right.
And my brother's like, I love the sound of these. These are incredible, and they sound way better than like he was listening to some others that were like $500, I think, from Campfire. I can't remember which ones. And he said, I could never buy this. I said, why? He said, it says Truthier on it. And it's like, to us, that doesn't sound. That's fine, right?
Yeah. If anything, that's very tame in the market.
Tame, right? Yeah. But for him, brand names. It's like it says Truthier. I can't do it.
Imagine if it said Phoebos,
right? Opity. Yeah. No. But yeah, was there anything else at CanJam that I don't know that piqued your interest for either of you guys?
I mean, for me personally, not a ton, to be honest. I have listening notes for, I don't know, maybe like 25, maybe 30 different things. And I made the mistake of listening to the Lumen first. So that was just kind of like, I just kept thinking about, I just want to go upstairs and listen to my Lumen.
Right.
The one thing that maybe I thought I did quite enjoy was the Symphonium Zenith.
Okay.
I enjoyed listening to that one.
Haven't heard of that one. I'm just looking it up. Sorry, continue.
Wasn't a fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, I liked Valhalla to it.
Oh, what about Valhalla versus Zenith?
I think I preferred Valhalla to it. Valhalla had more of a thick mid-range focus that was kind of more in line with my kind of jam. It was still way too bright, but Zenith was too bright in a kind of grainy way, and it also felt like the mids were a little bit too pulled back for me.
So it could be good.
For you, Zenith might be good. Yeah, no, I genuinely think you might like Zenith actually. But yeah, I think the only other thing from CanJam I really liked that I think other people would also really like is the Capra Audio Satyr 4, which Andrew, I actually think you would like that a lot.
Maybe I can make one.
You should make one. It's just peerless drivers.
Yeah, I have.
I know you do. I know you do. But yeah, it's the best peerless driver headphone I've heard by a significant margin, and it's also quite comfortable.
Finally, a good sounding peerless driver headphone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the original Borealis and Australis a bit.
I like the Murph one.
More than Borealis.
Murph one is up until now.
I didn't get a chance to hear that because Graco's stuff was relegated to the Murph room, and the Murph room was like,
he had a room?
No, it was with Mimic Audio and Mimic Audio, and I think
Right.
ETA were sharing a room.
Right.
And Kyle brought me into that room so I could hear the Uli, which was decent sounding. Did not like the ergonomic design, but the room was so hot, I just wanted to get out of there immediately.
Right.
It was kind of gross in there, and it smelled like boy. I was not down for it, which is a shame. Like I didn't even see Mimic Audio was in there. So.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm curious to hear the Satyr 4 because you said it was good, and I think some other people who heard it also said it was good. So yeah, curious to try that one.
Yeah, Doug liked it. Constantine, I think, was positive on it, but yeah.
Right. Did you guys try the? I know you listened to it, Griffin, but Mark, did you try the Arranger from Austrian Audio?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Actually, the Composer was one that was on my list. I wanted to listen to that more because, like, the first time I heard it, I only heard it with their music library, and I didn't think that much of it. But you keep talking about it, so I was like, oh, I want to check out the Composer. I never got around to doing that, so then I guess I also didn't hear the Arranger.
Got it.
It just sounds like a threat, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm gonna rearrange you. No, there's a couple other ones. Like there's a new ZMF.
The Tessadera.
Yeah, did you guys hear that one?
I actually kind of like that one. Yeah. I don't think it doesn't seem like a Griffin headphone, but
something I've learned just about ZMF in general is that they basically all kind of have dipped mid treble, and because my head just apparently deletes mid treble, all of his headphones have this like cloyingly muffled dark characteristic to them. Some of them have enough treble to balance that. Like I found the Atrium to have enough low treble to balance that.
Dude.
I find the Aeolus to have enough low and upper treble to balance that. But Tessadera was so relaxed in both of those regions that it just sounded crazy dark to me.
I couldn't believe how bad the Atrium sounded when I heard it at Cameron.
Well, yeah,
I'm getting a 5-point-something kilohertz thing flaying me. It sounds so compressed. Then going to the Caldera was like, oh my god! Like how are people even rating these in similar ballparks? You know.
The unfortunate like caveat also with a lot of listening impressions of ZMF things is it's like which pad was on it. And like,
I
don't know to what degree that had some effect on it, but like anytime someone's saying like, I love this headphone and I go and hear it, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really getting that. Like, oh, did you have it with this pad and this pad? I'm like, I guess I don't even know what pad was on it. Jeez.
There is what I have noticed though, is there is a tendency for, I think, for Zach to like the 5 kilohertz sort of low treble forwardness on a lot of them.
I don't even know if he necessarily likes it. I just think it might make the most sense with how he's trying to balance that design he's working on at the time.
Right.
And I think it might have to do with the fact that a lot of his headphones have mid treble holes.
Right. Gotcha. So you don't. Right. Yeah, so you don't notice. You need some presence there to balance out the rest of what's going on. But going to the Caldera Open, and I'd obviously heard that again at various different shows, but then it's like, show conditions and all that. But it's like it was shocking to me how much better the Caldera Open. Like it was not even. I love that headphone. I like listening to it at cameras. I was like, this is the best ZMF that I've heard by a significant margin.
I would say so.
Yeah. And partly because it, at least on my head, it didn't seem to have that 5 kilohertz thing,
Yeah. No, I don't detect anything there either. I get just an upper treble thing.
Yeah, it definitely has upper treble things, but it's just air. It's just technicalities. It's all good.
I mean, it's not unexpected, and I feel like even with that, it is more reined in than a lot of
Just go deaf, bro.
Yeah, it's okay. Just go.
Everyone
just
keeps
go deaf.
telling me to go deaf. No, I don't want
to. Get older, bro.
Age faster.
I'm down to age. I'm happy to age. But my hearing, bro.
It was funny that after we did the HRTF thing and seeing the IEM differences, I hadn't shared this publicly, or maybe I think I shared it.
We did.
Only
like 5 or 6 people
would have seen it.
Our members.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone wants to see accidentally leaked
doxing of Griffin's HRTF,
increase the chance of seeing our secret HRTFs. Definitely
can't use that as your crypto password anymore.
No. But the member streams and the YouTube membership does give an opportunity to get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain on some of the testing.
You can look deeply into Griffin's anatomy.
Sorry, I took us off course. What were you gonna say?
No, just how it perfectly explains why we hear the 10 kilohertz band so differently, and it just to me it's like
you have a rise there, I have a dip there.
Yeah, and it's like and also with Cameron's and the differences there as well, and it's just I don't want us to get too into this topic because it's one of the things we tend to overfocus on way too much, but like one of the common sort of comments that I see when I do the sorts of like sciencey videos, Griffin, that we work on sometimes and put out, where we talk about this, is, well, what's the point of measurements at all? If given this, like, oh wow, this variation is crazy. Like, well, I guess this shows that the measurements don't matter. And I'm like, well, you're focusing on the differences, and that's what I'm showing. But at the same time, it's like there are more similarities than there are differences. Like, we're focusing on the differences because that's new, that's novel, that's an explanation that people didn't have before. But when you zoom out and you take a look at the whole, it's like, yeah, there's more trends than there is difference. There's more.
Our HRTFs are still very human-like.
Turns out we have heads and ears.
Yeah. And it does, lend increased credence to what we've been doing recently, which is basing more things on HRTF than a CRIN target or Harman or something like that.
You said you mentioned that your HRTF is revealed on the member stream, and somebody immediately subscribed, so they're gonna
Well, actually, I think it was on the member stream that you had to
that's right, but it's public again.
Oh, it's public again? Okay.
Yeah, so they can see it, technically, but I'm not gonna tell them which one. So.
I think it'll be obvious if they know me which one is mine. They're gonna see a big dip above 10K and be like, yep, that's great.
Yeah. But yeah.
I have a question, Mark. If we had not to shove it in your face or anything like that, but if we had invited you to come with us to London, you would have had to shoulder all of the costs, obviously, other than the lab, because we had already paid for that. Would you have come with us?
Probably, yeah. But honestly, my interest would be more in just hanging out with you guys for like a week or so, like that.
That was the fun part of it, to be clear.
For you, maybe.
I can't remember if it was in Discord or if it was in my comments somewhere where somebody asked me, like, would you ever get your HRTF measured? And like my answer is like, probably not, because like I saw the effort you guys went through to get that, and like that's a lot of effort. Like that is, and I'm not that interested in it. I'm interested, but more as like a curiosity and less of like, I'm not trying to teach myself jujitsu like you guys did. So like I'm interested in that as a result, but not enough that I would like, make a big trip out of it. But adding on to that, hanging out with you guys for a week, and then you guys also solving all the logistical problems and like coordinating.
Yeah, like to be clear, if you were there with us, we would have taken care of that for you.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I probably would have. Yeah.
Well, it helped that we had Cameron who lives there, so that was
right.
So very
have someone that speaks a local language.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just a tough one. But okay, so what if the process for getting the HRTF would be easier for you? Like, I mean, so this is actually something that people didn't realize about all of that, is that the process of actually getting the HRTFs, like doing the thing, was easy. The challenging part was all the unscrungling that Griffin had to do afterwards, that took us on an emotional roller coaster of highs and lows.
Yeah, it was just we found out way too late that their compensation baseline was not adequate. So we had to,
and I do feel, I feel without Griffin as our sort of our agentic HRTF curator, we wouldn't have walked away with anything nearly as useful. And it speaks to this being a process that
is sufficiently difficult.
It's sufficiently difficult, yeah. And so I guess that's why I'm curious, like where the interest would fall for people if this process were meaningfully easier to do. Right.
And like for me, if like the complexity and the difficulty of getting a useful result was kind of similar to like how difficult it was to measure this headphone, that's about the edge of where I would be like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, right.
Because I almost gave up measuring this headphone, but
yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to ask in the context of headphones were maybe overrated or whatever. I was going to ask you, like, is this a headphone that you're still using? Because you like
So the funny thing is, before I got my hands on the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2, my answer would have been yes. And crucially with the BTD 700, which is like sick. Could be better, but it is cool. I think really the thing is, for travel purposes, the QC Ultra Gen 2 is just better. It's better at ANC. It's worse at sound quality because it doesn't have PEQ, but it's more comfortable for me. It does the convenience shit a little bit better. It's not a lot better, but enough better where I would probably still choose the QC Ultra Gen 2 for travel purposes.
Right. And like, so I've got this on loan, and I'm kind of preparing to do a review, and I'm thinking about like kind of framing the review as like the reason I would still not use this over, like I would still prefer using the XM6 is nothing to do with the sound, actually. Like the sound is out of the box. I don't love it, but it's got parametric EQ in there, and I got it pretty good enough that I'm happy with it. But like the fact that I can't leave touch controls enabled on this thing. I have to disable them. Otherwise,
it's super annoying. It's so annoying. I know what you mean.
Just handling the headphone, putting it on, that's like bing, bing, bong, bing, 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 bing. And I'm just like, what, for real? And
so
the
accurate.
Headphone for bing bong enjoyers.
Like that's not the reason that anyone like shopping for these headphones is like thinking about like, oh, I'm shopping for it based on like how annoying it is to hold. But like that is like the reality of this product, is it's kind of annoying to hold for that reason. And also it's just kind of floppy, a little bit on the heavy side, which feels premium. Like it feels really nicely made. It feels less like a plastic piece of crap like the Sony does. But in terms of the practical impacts of the build quality, I actually prefer the Sony, which is weird.
I do still have the HDB 630, and there are so many times where I'll just be like working on something on my desk, totally unrelated to that, but it has to do with like say it's another Bluetooth device that I need to test, and I had to test a bunch recently, and randomly out of nowhere, I'll just hear this disembodied voice from the HDB 630, just saying things like, "What is happening? Why?"
Wait, why
it's not even. I haven't even turned it on, and it's just it's now alive. It's now.
It has a feature where it will automatically turn on if you put it on your head.
Yeah.
So I think it might be that misfire.
It might be triggering it. Yeah.
Interesting.
And or it'll be like low battery, and I'm like, I'm not using it. But no, I do like, to me, it is still a watershed product because it's a mainstream product that has parametric EQ, and we should not expect less. We shouldn't be tolerant of less of any product that comes out, with the ANC product that comes out that doesn't have parametric EQ. And I'll say this about the Focals. I'll say this about the
especially Focals.
Sure, yeah.
They should audiophile brand. They should do that.
They should. But Sony and Bose need to follow suit. Apple, come on, like it's and the high end brands. Like I've had conversations with high end brands about this, and the complaint that they have is, well, we think people are gonna end up ruining the sound, or like they think it's too complicated. Yeah, and it's like, no, that's not why you need to put this in there. You need to put this in there because people need the option to unfuck what you have done. But no, there really is a disconnect there. They're probably right. Like I think in especially for like a mainstream audience, they're probably right that it is too complicated for people to understand. But the way that Sennheiser did it actually makes a certain amount of sense, where you have a basic mode and then you have an advanced mode, and it's like, here you go, right? It's choose how you want to engage with it.
There's an interesting solution that a couple of the Chinese companies have been doing that is kind of surprising. Like I hated the idea of it initially, but it makes a lot of sense for solving this problem, which is just, you can share your profiles. You can, and then there's like an index, there's a database of profiles, which are all works. Right. Sure. But like there's going to be a high likelihood that like, most of those just sound garbage and doo-doo, and maybe it creates another problem, is that you have to then sort through them. But if there is a good way of bringing the good ones to the top and like being able to find ones that are likely to work for you, even if like I've got an EQ profile highly tailored to my HRTF. It's probably not going to work for you exactly. It might still end up being better than what's out of the box. And if you have a handful of different ones you can try, you can probably find something that will improve the sound quality along whatever metric you want it to be improved by. If there's, various profiles you can test, and there's no cost to doing it. It's not difficult. This is kind of the benefit of EQ, is that you can just try it. And if you like it, go with it.
Yep. Yeah. The only thing you're spending is time.
Yep. No, I agree. I
also think the HDB 630, like, because its treble is just so bad for me, it does make me want to be less generous to it because it is genuinely so bad. But like below 6 kilohertz, it's really good. Like, I think just as a consumer tuning, like compared to any of the other options out there,
it's too basic. It's too basic for me. It's actually basic.
Oh no, I mean, of course, but I'm not saying for me. I'm saying for a consumer, like someone who doesn't know they prefer less bass, and have a coherent reason as to why.
False conscious.
That's what people expect, and I think it does a great job of balancing that expectation with a natural sounding mid range. It's still a little cold for me, but like, compared to the Bose or the Sony or the Apple or even the Focal or any of the other audiophile wireless options, it is more sensible down there. So I find it a little bit challenging to talk about because I want to be less generous because of how bad I specifically feel it sounds in stock formation, but it's all down to the treble. So I kind of have to go against that and give a little bit of praise where I feel like it's due, which is that it is still the most competently tuned out of the box of any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I even go to like the Bose QC Ultra Gen 2 is the one that I prefer to use, but without EQ, my God, is it ever V-shaped and insane? Like yes, it has custom tune, and that does accommodate the canal transfer.
It to where 630 is normal.
Yeah, exactly. So like without conveniently, Bose is doing it. If they're not going to give parametric EQ, they're at least putting the filters for bass and treble in the right spots. But I'd still like to have the option.
Yeah. This Bose, I haven't used a Bose product in a while. They still just have bass mids, treble sliders.
Yep. But it corresponds to where the elevations are, like where the tuning colorations are, right?
Gotcha.
The one thing is there is still, at least on my head, when I was doing the EEP data for it, there's a bit of a forwardness. I believe it 2 kilohertz, something in the ear gain band. That's so. I assume at least that it's pinna related, not canal transfer related, because it is compensating for the canal transfer. So when using custom tune, I mean, like I can do custom tune on the 5128 and measure it on my head. And then I can do custom tune on my head, measure it on my head, and the results for the ear gain are different. But on my head, I am still getting, as a function of the product, a resonance or a forwardness at around somewhere between 1 and 3 kilohertz. But I do think it is the most technologically advanced ANC device that I've used.
The Bose.
Bose, yeah. I think, I mean, who knows what the fuck the Apple thing is doing with the chip and whatever. But like, as far as like its impact on the sound, it is incredibly sophisticated. And I've been trying to, because like when you take a step back and you think about like, okay, what are the problems that any audio company developing a ANC closed back headphone needs to solve? Bose are going about this in the smartest way, because they're the snapshotting thing on a per person basis, I feel, is like a it's an elegant solution to this problem, rather than being like, well, we're going to bite the bullet on the variation that is just typical of these devices and say the sound quality is what it is, and too bad if it sucks for you. Like I really do appreciate Bose's way of being like, that's not good enough, let's try and see what we can do. I wish they would do more with it, is what I'm saying. I wish they would apply that to the pinna and to the rest of it. But yeah, anyways, I'm off on a tangent.
Mark, did you get a chance to hear oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask one clarifying question on that. Like, what's the best place for me? Because I'm not familiar with what they're doing with it. I think I watched your review, so I have like that much context, but is there a good place for me to like catch up on what Bose is doing with their headphone?
I mean, just Google, like, their marketing material. Like actually what they're like, this is the thing, there is a black box element to this, like, or there's we don't know what their internal targets are necessarily. We just know that they are taking a snapshot of the canal and compensating for that, but compensating it to what, I don't know. And it does, when I spoke to the representative, I initially thought that there was a channel imbalance with the headphone, because I was measuring it on, I didn't do the custom tune thing correctly. I just turned it on and put it on the rig and measured it. And I was like, hey, this is like really weird and wrong. Like, there's a severe channel imbalance. And then he replied with, oh yeah, we don't tune our headphones on measurement rigs. We tune them on real people. And a light went off in my head. I was like, oh. And then I was like, I need to figure out like if this is actually working and the custom tune thing is working. And sure enough, when I used custom tune on my own head, the channel imbalance was gone.
Oh,
and now that's not the case for the ones that don't have custom tune. Those do have channel imbalances, and that's a problem. So this solves that problem as well, though, right? So they recognized like, okay, for mass production for these types of products, there are inherent issues with that, and this is how we solve it. So there's obviously things that I'd like for them to improve, but like, it's funny that Bose has such a bad reputation in the audiophile world, right? Because it's like, this is the bass slop brand, right? But
I mean, they weren't great for a while there.
Yeah, for a while,
They have a lot of competent ass products now.
They do. They really do. Yeah. It's been a 180 for me with this brand, because like, again, I started off owning Bose products and hating them, you know? And now I'm like, this is one of my favorite brands for what they're doing. They're making competent products for the masses that I can recommend to basically everybody. You know, I can't say that about many other brands.
Yeah.
So,
are you guys going to be reviewing the AirPods Max too?
Yeah.
Yes. So that is, I've got my pre-order in. We'll see when it gets to Canada. But yeah, Griffin just recently put out an article on why
you shouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
No.
It was a really good article. I really enjoyed reading it, because I was going through and doing like, you know, checking it before it went out, and I was like, this is a banger of an article. Like, hell yeah.
Oh man. So I was literally thinking about this weekend recording a video of why I'm not buying the AirPods Max Pro.
Oh, sick.
But you already do it.
No, do it. I mean, look, you have a different audience than I do. Obviously, there's a good amount of overlap, but
his audience has taste.
Catching people I would not be catching, and I think it's a message people do need to hear. Just the fact that they didn't change any of the bullshit with that product. And like, I would not count the sound quality of that headphone as bullshit. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable.
But there's so much other bullshit with it that is just, what the fuck are you doing?
It's been a while since I listened to it, because I bought one and sold it. I sell almost nothing, but that was one of the things I sold, because there was just no chance I was going to use it, because the battery would kill itself if I didn't use it. And that's not changed. But to your point about the sound, like, I remember liking the sound better than any of like the Sony or Bose alternatives at the time, at least.
It was better.
The bass is less stupid, so than most of them.
Less stupid. Mids are less stupid too.
They had technicalities.
But the treble, oh my god, dude!
Yeah, I hated the treble on it, but it did have technicalities. I will.
Oh my god!
It was more like spacious than the other ANC headphones, where they do sound like significantly closer and like more claustrophobic and shoutier, and so I agree there. But it's stupid that there's no on-off button. It's stupid that they're using the same goddamn headband with the same fucking stupid.
Well, and that's the thing. Is like, I've only gotten to use it for the duration of time that I've reviewed those headphones, and I've reviewed them twice, but like, that's not the full year or 6 months or whatever, how long people are using it for the headband to shit itself and then become useless, you know? So that was a really good point, that like, if they haven't changed that with the two, then people are going to have the same issue.
Yep. Still has
Yeah,
that.
I didn't even know
case.
that people had that problem.
Yeah.
Still doesn't fold.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Anything can fold if you're brave enough.
Yeah. I was actually surprised last time I was in New York during the summer, how many people in New York were like using the AirPods Max as an exercise headphone.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Bluetooth headphones are now like an exercise, like over-ear headphones specifically are an exercise accessory.
Why is that, do you think?
Drip.
Yeah.
It's
specifically the AirPods.
Purely a fashion thing.
It's
like
heavy. It doesn't like
cling
to your
hot
head.
girl at the gym with your AirPods Max.
I feel
Not
like
gonna lie, goes hard. Like I don't love the look of that headphone, but I feel like one of the places it works best is actually like with gym attire, like athleisure attire. It actually looks quite nicely placed.
It's a great way to get your headphones to be disgusting.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's the worst possible headphone to do it with because they have that condensation buildup issue in the ear chamber. So it's like, what are you doing?
And it's heavy, and it's not like particularly clampy or snug. Like it's
no, it'll slide around like a motherfucker. So
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and like I got a little bit of flack from someone saying that like I put that piece out without hearing the headphone, but like none of the complaints in that article are to do with the sound quality. Like it was in the water cooler thread, so I think it's largely the people for whom sound quality is, at least as far as they are consciously aware, their first, second, and third priority.
Do you respond to those threads? I genuinely haven't
I responded to the Lumen talk because frankly I just felt like more discussion of Lumen in that thread would be a good thing, but also because it gave me an opportunity to do what I think would behoove any of us, which is to show up and be respectful but firm in our opinions and our basis of those opinions. Like I find it very rare that I go into one of those threads and it's just like a dog pile on me, like I don't think any of us is unreasonable. And I think if anything, the main issue is that we have been painted into a corner of ideology that isn't actually representative of how we think about these products just because we use measurements. So I think any opportunity,
all you care about is the Harman target.
Yeah, I think any opportunity we can take to kind of remind people that is incorrect and that we have a fairly coherent evaluative standard, and our ideas on the market are not based on something like price bias or just hate is genuinely a good thing to do. But I wouldn't say I follow the water cooler thread.
I feel you, in a way, if you were more praising of products, I feel. Somebody said, maybe it was you who said this, but you don't see the criticism when you're praising the product. You only see it if it's
So in this case, it also wasn't that, because no one was criticizing that I praised Lumen. It was that I praised it more than
the things that than the rest of the industry
or the Storm or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was that you threw everything else under the bus.
Yeah.
A little bit. I wouldn't say I threw them totally under the bus, but I feel like I threw the market under the bus, which is
right.
I could see how they would respond to that as being basically the same thing, but I don't think it actually is.
I think there's ways to look at this. Like, on the one hand, you don't want to become like a community pariah where like nobody really wants to listen to you, what you have to say, because you're just a troll and you're just, like there's nothing of value there. On the other hand, you don't want to just
capitulate and
be
another voice in the network of millions all saying the same thing, especially if you do have different opinions.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would probably benefit the space. I mean, this is all just my opinion, but would probably benefit the space if opinions like that were more mainstream.
And this is where I think like we should go harder on. And I say this like us. I don't know about Mark if you want to do this too, but like I feel like your Lumen article is like exactly the kind of thing that the industry needs to, you know, figure out, because it challenges norms, it challenges convention. And so controversy in this sense is not just for controversy's sake, but to enact change, you know?
Yeah, I think for better or worse, reviewers are unfortunately kind of a disproportionately powerful force in the market. And I feel like if you're just one of the people that is, you know, if you're satisfied with the status quo, that's fine. Like, I don't think everyone needs to be a soapboxing fucking nerd. But I think if you have opinions that are contrary to the norm and you feel confident in them, you shouldn't be afraid to share them, because there are probably other people that feel the same way. And, you know, I often get clowned on for being very particular or very harsh or something like that. But I've met plenty of people who are similarly harsh, and it's not, I understand that it's not the majority of people, but I think there is something refreshing about Andrew not always liking an IEM he hears. That there's something refreshing about Mark giving something that deserves no more than 3 stars, no more than 3 stars. And, you know, it's something we don't see enough of. And I think it benefits the space whenever we do that, because raising the standard can only ever be a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about a similar subject in a video I published maybe a month ago or so, the state of the hobby, where I kind of like looked at different trends.
Video. That was a very good video.
Talk specifically about like IEMs are just getting more and more expensive, and it's just like I look at this corner of the hobby, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm not even that interested in it. Like, I go to CanJams and I just walk by those tables, and like it wasn't even like a conscious thing. It was just like initially it was like it feels like a completely alien thing, and I'm not that interested in it. And then thinking about it more, I'm like, okay, why do I not like it? It's like it feels like they're playing a different meta. There's we're playing the broke meta. They're playing the rich meta.
I mean, that's what they legitimately think. Like,
I know. Exactly.
When obviously, like, if any of us ask for like a product from a community member, like you especially, Mark, you have strong enough community ties, even with people that shop on the high end, that if you wanted to review a Mr. Craft Hex, you could probably get hands on one. Like, if you wanted to review the fucking Storm, you could. Like, it wouldn't really be that much of a expenditure of effort or money.
Right.
It's not that we don't have access to these things or haven't heard of them before.
Right.
Well, but I'm thinking of the way, Mark, you just described it. It's like it sort of resonates with me, because it's like despite what Griffin says, like, yeah, I could reach out to community or even the brands maybe, and they'd send me something, but I am also just not that interested personally in it.
Right.
You know? I can't help it, you know.
Right. I think part of it is the price, and that it like almost makes it irrelevant to the consciousness that I am steeped in.
Yeah.
But I think also part of it is that like there is this pretense that it's more expensive and it sounds better, and that's just not been my experience. And because of that, it's just like I'm just not interested. I'm kind of turned off by a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of a problem that people assume that it's an issue with, because I saw this in the thread, they assume it's an issue of experience. Like, we just don't have enough experience listening to things. And like, I could kind of see it in my case. I haven't been doing this nearly as long as either of you have, but
it's an issue of experience. Yeah, it's an issue of experience, whether to do with like the I don't know, whatever, all the different like $10,000 IEMs that people are listening to, or it's an issue of experience to do with, well, you haven't gone to enough concerts, or something like that.
Man, if I wanted
You're not old enough,
music
man,
to sound like a concert, I would use the Bose QC Ultra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted to ask Mark, are there any? We've gotten Griffin's controversial take. What's your sort of controversial? Do you have an equivalent to that?
What? Wait, what
was my controversial take?
Just to do with the like where there's a community reaction, like the Lumen towards the Lumen sort of thing. I mean, like, I don't think your takes are controversial amongst us. I'm just I'm wondering if you've gotten any reactions similar to any of your things.
I mean, like, thinking recently, like, people didn't like that I didn't have only very positive things to say about like the Zen's Top Pro. Wasn't that controversial, but like, I don't know. Honestly, the most controversy I've had in like the last year has been about my AI theme song.
Oh no, the ZMF one. That's probably the Bocos.
Oh, I guess there's a little bit of that going on.
I don't know if there was as much community pushback about that.
There was on Headphone.
There was on Headphone.
There was a fair bit on Headphone.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, so I had a couple of ZMFs. I had 3 of them on hand. They had sent me the Bokeh and the, oh my god, what's the closed back that you were just talking about? You like the open back?
Oh, the Caldera.
Oh, they are closed.
Caldera, Jesus, yeah. So they had sent me those 2 for review, and then they asked if there was anything else I was interested in. So I was like also interested in the Auteur because I think I'd seen squigs of it. I was like, oh, that looked pretty nice. I'd like to spend some more time with that one.
Yeah.
Clearly biased.
I published. Yeah, and I didn't love the headphones. The Auteur I enjoyed, but the 2 closed backs, like I thought the Caldera just sounded kind of weird and wonky.
Correct.
Listenable, but it was a fine headphone. The Bokeh I kind of actively don't really like. And whenever I get a product like that, like usually those are the ones that take me the longest to review because I'm just not super motivated and excited about reviewing it. Plus, I know I'm going to disappoint people when I do it. So it's just like, yeah. So it was a thing that dragged on for a little bit, but then I eventually published my Caldera review as I think I gave it 3 out of 5, which I was like, yeah, it's fine. A little wonky, but I get it. And yeah, I got a lot of critique about using a MacBook as my source, which was true, but it wasn't the only source I used. I think I probably even talked about it just in the context of like how hard it is to drive. I'm like, it'll like drives fine off a MacBook. And then of course the conclusion everyone says, oh, he only listened to it on a MacBook and he didn't give it a proper review. I was like, I have other stuff that I listened to it on. It sounded the same on all of them.
Of course. That's yeah.
Maybe a similar one too was the tungsten. I did not love the tungsten, and maybe it's because I used the wrong source. I don't know.
Okay, so the reason I bring up some of this is when maybe I've talked about this, but I probably talked about this before. Maybe it was even with you, Mark. But like when we give our opinions on products, given what we know about, let's say, HPTF variation, non-HRTF related HPTF variation, all this kind of stuff. Say nothing about preference, but like the fact that we literally hear these products differently from one another, IEMs especially, right? Like it's insane how variant that is. It's, to me at least, starting to feel a little bit weird to give commentary on these products again as if they are this immutable thing, right? It is like this rather than my experience of it was like this.
Right.
You have, I don't know if this is intentional, but like there's a vibe that you give in your reviews where it's a lot more like, well, this was my experience with the product. And you're describing the product, but like for whatever reason, I take from those reviews, oh, this is how I felt about it.
Right.
And I feel that's actually a more authentic and fair way to the discourse, because to talk about this stuff, because the reality is we should be talking about these as our experiences, but it's also hard to do because it's like when something is, well, for starters, most people are thinking about this in terms of these products as immutable things, and second of all, there are products that are just outright bad, right? So it's like, how do you navigate that really as a reviewer, right? Like you have to be sensitive to both of those things, you know?
Right. And maybe even stepping back a little bit, I feel like you could, that to like the outright bad category or concept. It's like if you have 100 people listen to this headphone and only 10% of 10 of them like the headphone, you could probably confidently say that this is just not a good headphone.
Sure.
Something like the OAE one maybe is an example.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's somebody out there that likes that headphone, but
somebody in our forum recently. Yeah.
I feel comfortable saying that, like, to most people, you're not going to enjoy this headphone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess as a reviewer, I try to emphasize and make it clear that I'm talking about my perspective, my opinion, and that also gives me gives me more leeway and maybe more confidence in just saying like, yeah, I don't like this thing. Like, if you like it, that's fine. I'm not trying to make an objective qualification or I'm not trying to define this thing objectively. I'm just telling you, I don't like it. And partly, I would say honestly, like to some degree, that even reduces my persuasiveness, both in like the audiophile space, but even outside of audiophile space, like, you know, business meetings, etc. It's like, I'm going to tell you a perspective, which is my perspective, maybe even a more educated perspective than average, but it's just a perspective, could be wrong. Some people just want this is the way it is. It's
the simple answer.
They want
and to be fair, they get that, at least in their minds, unambiguously from other reviewers, right? Like, very few reviewers are as Californian as you are.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Like, there's not as much of an air of chill about it that I genuinely do think works in your favor in a way that, like, Andrew and I would have to twist ourselves into knots to do it quite as effortlessly, or seemingly as effortlessly as you do. I know you put a lot of effort in, so I don't want to minimize that.
I don't.
But I also.
But that's what makes it harder.
But
you just are this way. You know, for us, we would struggle to do that.
Yeah. But I also think, because it is, I guess I would say, the norm that, you know, the ideas are presented as Andrew has been saying, kind of the immutable characteristic of that device. We're kind of paddling upstream in trying to add as many caveats and disqualifiers, and, you know, now we fucking characterize the behavior on our own heads just so we can show people, like, this is what it's doing for me specifically, just me, not you, me.
Yeah.
It's all an effort to you know, lower the persuasiveness, if anything.
Which is weird, because, like, well, Griffin, for your reviews, they are very much plant a flag for your experience about the product. And I feel like when people, you know, engage with your reviews, it's like they walk away feeling a certain way about the product, less your experience, because you are also trying to relay that about, you know, like the product is this way in these certain, you know,
and
conditions.
To be clear, I do feel like the jiu-jitsu training, the having the HRTF, and even before that, kind of just having a fairly good idea of what my HRTF would probably look like, how headphones will probably be behaving on my head. Obviously not with perfect precision, but fairly close, does give me more confidence to plant the flag about my own experience.
Yes.
It is likely to be received, or at least more likely to be received, as me making some indication of the objective performance of the product. But, like, nothing could be further from the truth. And it's definitely an ongoing communication struggle to make sure that authority is assigned, not authority, but that certainty is assigned to the right part, which is the individual experience, and not the arbitration of, or arbiting of, what it will be for everyone.
But to Mark's point, it does lower the persuasiveness when you and I do it. Maybe not when Mark does this. Like, if we're just saying my experience is like this, and, you know, based on the on-head behavior on my head, and caveat.
Well, no, I don't think it's a bad thing to lower the persuasiveness, though.
No, like, I don't either.
I think it is both something that endears you to the widest audience possible. It gives people the clearest idea of how these things perform, and also it, you know, kind of what we were talking about before, where you could be wrong about a product.
See, I actually disagree.
And then a year later, kind of revisit it and be like, "Oh, I didn't like it that much." Or
so that part's true, but I disagree. I disagree that it endears you to the widest audience, because I think that people want the simple answer to the complex problems. They want the, is this good, is this bad, period. I don't give a shit about your experience. You could listen to whatever thing that I don't listen to. I don't give a fuck about your experience. Tell me about the product, Daddy. I want to know. Is it good? Is it bad?
I'm not sure I agree. I think I would agree that it gets you the least clicks if that is what you're known for.
Being reasonable has never gone viral.
That's
exactly.
true.
But I do think, and to an extent, both of you have been good at this already. So it's it's part of the foundation of your brand as a reviewer in this space is kind of reasonableness and moderation and all that stuff. So I don't think HRTFs were necessary to inculcate that expectations in the viewers of y'all's content. But I do think the more you become known for a balanced perspective and clearly delineating what is your experience versus what is likely to be experienced by other people, I do think that offers something that is more valuable to a wider range of people.
I agree, it's more valuable if that's what people are looking for, though. Is the other
yeah that is the issue, because I do agree that it's not what people
if they're willing to engage with it, right? Then but
yeah.
I mean, I think long term, in the end, it does net out in our favor.
Long-term trust is a valuable resource, man.
Yeah. There was a thought that came across my head while you guys are talking. I apologize if this feels like it's out of sync with what we were just talking about, but
go for it.
I feel like growing up, I kind of had the experience of just never being in the mainstream in terms of like what was having the right opinions or doing the popular thing. Like I played video games as an example, which obviously are very popular now. In the 90s were kind of a dorky thing. My politics are very different from most people's politics. So I think just kind of naturally I have developed pluralism, I guess, as a defense mechanism. And maybe that also influences the way that I communicate about my experiences.
It's very interesting that you bring that up, actually.
For me, it would be the almost like, I was gonna say almost the inverse, because I have this, I spent a lot of time in the various schooling that I've done kind of being so opposed to relativism in any form, because I kept feeling like there's a truth about this, there's a matter of fact about this is this way, and when something is wrong, it's false, wrong, like being able to say that it had value. And so in a way, it's like getting to this point now with audio products, it's like where that stuff stop, those sorts of judgments about things stop making as much sense as they may have in the past, is actually a bit of a struggle, because you want to be able to say those things, or at least I felt I did, because that was such a strong value association for me. But I feel like maybe if I had been more open-minded about relativism, not even open-minded, if I'd been more appreciative of the places where that might apply, it would be easier to sort of take the Mark Ryan approach to things, at least with respect to the audio products. I'm not saying that you'd be relativistic, but in general, I mean, I do agree that I think that so much of the way that we approach this stuff is built upon our lived experiences as we've kind of grown up, and I probably also felt a little bit anti-mainstream. I don't know if I'm the same age as you, Mark, but probably we're both older than Griffin. So
yeah, you're a few years younger than Mark.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting you bring that up, Mark, because I actually feel like both the way I conduct myself and the way I'm perceived to conduct myself is quite different than I am in real life, or have been in real life. In most of my life, I have been and am a very non-confrontational, pluralistic, accommodating person. But I think when it comes to audio, even separate from music, because I think I treat music quite a bit differently than I do audio, I am much more, I don't want to say certain, but definitely confident in my own ability to hear a thing and identify it, and confident in my ability to help others who maybe aren't at that point, and confident in my ability to articulate what I'm hearing and how it's affecting the music, and to an extent also confident in how the music is supposed to sound. Like I as far as internal references go, I feel I have a fairly strong idea of what it's supposed to sound like. So in discourse here, I don't want to say inflexible, but very self-assured in a way I'm not in most of my life. And I wouldn't say it's overconfident. Like, I don't think I overextend myself too much, certainly sometimes. But it is interesting how stark the contrast is between me in audio and me basically everywhere else.
Are there other online communities that you partake in? No.
Nope. Yeah.
So I do. So I wonder if like those differences would carry over if you were just obsessed with a different thing also on the side, if you're also into Transformers toys or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might.
Furries.
I kind of think it wouldn't, though. Did you say furries?
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
I wonder what the really opinionated furry takes are.
Yeah, like I feel like that is kind of an inherently pluralistic and accommodating.
Yeah. Joanne's is like way
the furries
better.
I know are very. We should ask.
Oh my god. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the furries I know are some of the like kindest, most accommodating people. So I wouldn't expect it to be a space that's.
I don't know that we need to dissect that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it's not that I'm necessarily. Oh fuck! This is gonna get me into philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. I mean, but I think people like the wine industry, right? Which is, I mean, it's insane. But yeah, okay, sure. Well, allegedly. I believe you have the palate of a toddler, but let's move on. Okay. Okay. When we order pizza, he asks for plain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. You could have any flavor you want. You just want plain. Okay. Anyway.
I didn't even know.
Okay.
I didn't even know plain was an option.
Doesn't like coffee. Doesn't like alcohol. Eats plain pizza. You don't like things that have that taste of anything. Anyways,
apparently Griffin is not audible in chat. They were talking about it initially. I thought maybe it was just while you dropped out.
No, you're fine.
But they're still going. Like they're still talking about it for a longer period of time than I expected.
No audio from any of us?
Check 1 2. Hello. The ping thing in OBS is lighting up.
They can't hear you.
There's a little bit of a delay.
Oh no, they say he's back.
There we go. We're back.
Okay.
We are.
That's weird. That's weird.
I will say this chat is a longer delay than our like, member live streams usually are.
Right.
So it was probably just when I was cutting out earlier.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
Relativity.
Relativism in
we should move on from that. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something more fun.
Hey, I'm talking about, okay. It's fun for me. They demand listeners' take on philosophy. We know his take on philosophy. He doesn't like it. Yeah. We could do spicy hour in the chat if you guys want. If it is time.
Oh.
Or maybe we should cover first. Is there anything else like product related that Mark?
Yes, I wanted to ask Mark about this actually.
Yeah.
Mark, did you get to listen to the Lily Audio Genesis 1?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Is it the HT800S looking thing?
It's the HT800S thing with a giant MEMS driver on it.
Wait. Maybe I heard a version of that at a Hi-Fi Con.
At Hi-Fi Con, you might have. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then I did.
No, say it. It's the correct take. It's the correct take. Say it. Say it. They need to know.
It didn't sound terrible. It was not listenable.
Yeah.
But I feel like I think I told him that, and I think he didn't seem like he was in denial about it. Maybe not. Maybe I misread the room, but it seemed like it was an interesting technology, and tuning was not what he acknowledged that like tuning was not what he was good at.
Yeah.
And the product was not tuned.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I feel this way about Grados.
It was worse than Grado. It was absolutely worse than Grado. It had.
I went 10 years thinking Grados were good.
I don't think I
would go 10 years thinking this was good.
Okay.
Some people who have been around longer than any of us still think Grados sound good.
Oh, did you guys hear the Gorilla OAE2? People are asking.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
In my head, I was mostly just comparing it with the OAE1. It's less boomy and bloated in the bass and a little bit less scratchy in the treble, but still has a little bit of that weird timbre. And I was trying really hard to hear something different in like the staging or the positioning, and I couldn't. I actually had a better experience than most people. In fact, let me see if I can find a photo of this. I might have shared it with you, Griffin. But I was listening to the OAE2 in between two other people sitting right next to me, also listening to the OAE2. And I could hear their music above my music, which initially my thought was like, oh, this thing must bleed a lot. So I took it off and put it on the table, and I couldn't hear mine, but I could still hear theirs. I was like, okay, no, they're just blasting their heads off. So I mentioned it to the woman that was working there, who actually might have been like Axel's daughter or something. I don't know.
It was
the same last name. And she actually took me to the backstage, the service rooms behind CanJam. Like, look, this is like an ice maker, and like I don't even know, there's some storage
to get a proper listen. Wow.
Yeah. So I got some time to actually listen to the thing, and I was trying really hard to hear the positional stuff, and like I didn't really get it. So I'm interested to try it again more at home.
Mm-hmm. I think it's not that you would hear positional stuff. It's that if you could that's different. It's that if you could trick your brain into thinking that the sound was coming from in front of you, the timbre would sound less fucked.
Right.
That's how I think of it. Or at least that's how I think Axel thinks of it. Right. It's that it's meant to give you the party trick isn't meant to be soundstage or spatial stuff. It's meant to be timbre. Just that it's part of you're getting your brain to localize what is essentially in a directionless condition, right?
I mean, it almost sounds like you're describing. Remember, like those magic eye paintings.
Yeah. No, that's exactly the analogy. I was going to give this description or this analogy when I'm arguing with somebody on our forum about the OAE1 specifically in this way, where you have to trick your brain into hearing it a certain way or thinking about the sound that's coming at you a certain way in order for it to make sense. You know? And for me, the illusion,
like all headphones though.
Yes. And so this is the thing. The illusion with this shatters for me, at least for the OAE1. I don't know about the OAE2, but it shatters the moment that I move my head slightly. Like I can kind of trick my brain into like imagining the sound source, but it's a little bit like looking at the corner of the room and imagining that it's two-dimensional, or looking at a picture and imagining it's three-dimensional, right? It's a little bit like trying to do that brain trickery. As soon as you change the apparent object or angle slightly, the illusion shatters instantly. And this is why I don't think any of this makes sense without head tracking, because you're constantly going to be breaking the illusion because the sound goes with you. So
that would be interesting if head tracking, like adding head tracking to that recipe, then made it like make sense and click. That would.
I mean, even then, you don't know that it would. It might. It might help, but you don't know for sure because you're still listening to it in a headphone sound helmet condition. So I don't know.
I'm not sure that head tracking is even the problem. I just don't think the frequency response that's being produced by the driver at that angle is actually going to be a good representation of what that listener's HRTF would be imparting of speakers at a free field. I just don't. I don't think it's adapting to that HRTF in the way he expects it to be.
For the two or the one or both?
For both. Yeah.
Okay. But it is intended to be what, 30 degrees and like
either that or 0 degrees or somewhere in the middle. Yeah. It doesn't really matter to me anyway, because regardless of whatever he's going for, what happens for me is I get a mid-treble dip with most headphones. This headphone, due to its driver positioning, has more of that. So it's just going to sound worse because it's compounding with something my ear already does. So I hear just a big mid-treble hole and then still too much like 4 or 5K or 3 5K and then too much air. And now there's less bass to balance it out. So I'm actually not even sure if I like OAE2 more than OAE1, which is the thing most people are saying about it.
It's got 2 in the name, so it's got to be better. I'm curious to hear it, honestly. Like it's one that I'm actually I think was it your unit that I reviewed for the OAE1, Mark?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think so.
Yeah, because I bought it because I'd heard it at multiple CanJams and it was not good at any of them, so I didn't buy it expecting that it would be different, but I was just curious to spend more time with it.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any non-audio related things that are new and interesting and fun in your life, Mark?
Ooh. I mean, I'm always buying new Transformers. I don't know. Nothing super exciting.
Well, you mentioned other hobbies and other like subculture spaces.
Yeah. I mean, mostly the things that I pay attention to are honestly like it sounds like a joke. I love Transformers. And photography, which, I got to do photography in New York, which was nice.
What are you shooting these days?
Same old camera as before. It's a Olympus. Here, I can reach in here and grab it. I think. Hold on.
Okay.
This is like it's
a cute little guy.
Yeah.
Came out 2015, so over 10-year-old camera. It is not the latest technology, but I like that it's small. I like to shoot manual lenses specifically. So this is like a nice old. This lens is something like 60 or 70 years old, and I like it because of that. I don't know.
Vibes.
Yeah.
I like the handle.
The grip. Yeah. Like it's compact, but it's weighty. It's good to manually focus. It's got built-in image stabilization, so it makes it easier to manually focus. And it's not the latest technology, and because of that, like, I just don't even think about it. The photography thing was like, I actually, I did a YouTube channel about photography before I started doing audio stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Shouts out Micromatic.
Yeah. But I kind of lost interest in it, partly because I feel like I made mistakes doing that YouTube channel that I tried not to make in the audio space. Maybe even kind of similar to what we were talking about before, like, being less certain about things. And like, I feel like I found myself repeating like tropes that were, community takes. Like, this lens is, it's so sharp. And then like kind of looking back, I'm like, I don't know that I was even really in a good position to evaluate those sorts of things, or like I don't even necessarily care about those things anymore. And so that was part of why, one of the many reasons I stopped doing that channel. But this camera is, doesn't have the most bokeh. It doesn't have the most. It's 16 megapixels. It is out of date and bad by most people's standards. But the things I like are the feel, the experience,
the fun that you get to have doing photography.
I like the experience of it. Yeah. And
I am that way with my Fuji versus the Sony. I would rather take pictures on my Fuji.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing anything professional, it's going to be on my Sony. Like, it's just.
I was gonna see. Do you guys want to see my pictures?
Yeah.
New York?
Yeah. Love to.
I'm not sure I'll be able to show all of them to chat. You'll have to.
You put them on your. Oh, I don't know how we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't know if I can. Let's see. I'm just showing you guys. Oh, why is it showing you guys? Wait. Oh no, I know why it's doing that. I'm doing live OBS right now.
Sony does have a weird menu structure, but they improved it on their newer cameras. The older one was the worst menu structure of all time. But it's not even the menu structure. It's just like it's fun to play with the dials and stuff on the Fuji, and that it doesn't feel like you're actually taking the picture with the Sony. It feels like the camera is doing all the work for you. So you have to actively make your life harder to be able to have fun with it. Well, there you go.
There we go.
Damn,
Nice.
buddy.
So it was fun using this camera. I was playing around with. This is the first time I went out with a diffusion filter on my lens. So like,
Was that Thursday night?
Yeah, this was the first night we came in, and it was still pouring rain.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got caught in that rain.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Hell yeah, buddy.
Which one? Which one did you own?
that one. The next one. That one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I-
Yeah, I like this one more than I thought most people would. So it's interesting that one stood out too.
Ooh, I like the. Yeah.
Oh man, I love New York.
It's awesome.
I don't.
This is for photography. I love it.
I imagine photography is really cool. I know where that is. Yeah.
Where?
The previous one. I feel like I know where that is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
This is one that
That's cool.
Liked.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Cool. Nice.
so I enjoyed doing that. No, that was exciting. I would love to do more of that. I should do more of it. Every time I do a photography thing like that, I'm like, I should do this more. And then I don't. I go a year or more between.
I know what you mean.
Photography.
Yeah.
Not every hobby has to be an always hobby.
But
I'm
it feels
kind of
good when I do it.
Yeah.
I want.
I'm kind of the same way. Like I some of the best photos that I ever took were not because I was trying to be a photographer. I had my camera there, and like there's some photos I took at a friend's wedding in Cartagena, and I didn't do anything with those photos. I didn't post them anywhere, but every once in a while I go through the photos that I've taken. I'm like, holy smokes! Like it was of they do some sort of like traditional like walking through the streets after the wedding with the wedding party, and then there's like these dancers that come in from the street. It's a whole thing. But some of the photos that I got from that were ridiculous, and I revisit them every once in a while. Like I was not even trying to take it. I was just trying. I literally had my camera in my hand as an anxiety camera, so I wouldn't have to talk to people. And it works great for
camera.
that. Works great. But yeah, but no, I do have that same thought of like I should do this more. But I feel like if I were intentional about it, then somehow it wouldn't be as good. I don't know.
The spontaneity and I don't know. It puts you in a different headspace.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about just music, like making music in general. I feel like whenever I sit down with the intention to make something, it usually ends up not being all that great. But consistently, the best things I've made are the things that just kind of come out of nowhere and take hold of me, or things that were born out of like just a raw need to do it. That was mostly earlier in my life, but yeah.
I've been getting into listening to music lately. It's been genuinely. I've been rediscovering old classics, classic rock that I
had a night a few days ago where I was doing the same thing actually.
Yeah. For me, it was Bloodbath and Edge of Sanity. The Gothenburg Dan Swano.
Not familiar. Sounds like some Andrew ass music.
I'm looking at Bloodbath and what?
Edge of Sanity. Well, so a lot of it is I was going down the Gothenburg Swedish death metal rabbit hole, and it's one of those things
classic rock, dog. Like
I was joking. I was joking. But basically like you follow. Yeah.
That's what I was listening to. You said Led Zeppelin, right? Yeah, that's literally what I was revisiting, and I was like, bro, some of this shit, like obviously there's the whole thing is just them fucking stealing from black people and being hot white boys while doing it. But like some of those songs on the first record specifically, like Communication Breakdown is a pop, dude.
Oh, what's the one I'm thinking of? There's one. I mean, I was going to say there's the bluesy one. They're all fucking bluesy. It's a blues band. No, it's on Zeppelin
on top.
1, I think.
One is their best in my opinion, so that would make sense.
You Shook Me.
Oh, interesting. Not what I would have. That is, I get why you would call that the bluesy one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's just like straightforward blues, right?
I mean, a lot of their songs are just straightforward.
Yeah. On that record. Yeah. And I remember I was visiting my friend's like a longtime friend from high school. I was visiting. He runs a brewery in the town that we grew up in, and I was visiting him after work one night, and he just had that blasting on like a record player, and I remember being like, damn, this hits hard, like when you're just in the right zone for it. So yeah, fun to go down that rabbit hole again. But I did have this distinct thought of like when I was just going down the
rabbit hole.
Yeah, the Gothenburg, Dan Swano collection. I don't think that is necessarily good music, but it reminds me of a time when I did. And there's something fun about that, like I can't listen to it now with the same like lens.
Zeal.
Yeah, but there's something, and this isn't just like nostalgia farming, even though there's an element to
aspect of that for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is like it's the reason why I sort of rediscover it is because a lot of that stuff has gotten remastered, and I'm able to now also listen to it with equipment that I never would have, right? So like there's the fun of it's almost like music discovery with music that you're familiar with already, and it is
that's cool.
It's cool.
I know a lot of people only listen to the music that they listened to when they were like 17. Like they get stuck.
This is as good as it gets.
and I remember at one point, probably in like my early 20s, I felt like I found myself saying stupid stuff like, oh, music just keeps getting worse. And like I made a conscious decision of like, no, like this can't actually be true. Like listen to music outside of your bubble. And now like I don't listen to anything that I used to listen to as a kid. Maybe a couple of things. I like the Smashing Pumpkins stuff. They're pretty good.
They got some hits.
Yeah. Oh, they've got some damn good songs.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Real shit.
I did songs that were better than I recognized, as a kid.
Yeah.
I appreciate them more now than I did. But I guess I don't know where I was going with that. But I guess I wish there's some music that I would wish to have the experience of going back to it and like having a remastered version that just sounds next level.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately I have the opposite experience most of the time.
Yeah. You realize the music it's hard to listen to sometimes, even though you like the songs,
Well, like out of high school, I really was into Blind Guardian. I'm imagining.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah. Of course.
I was really into Blind Guardian for like a good 5 years of my life.
As one does out of high school.
Yeah, exactly. And then I went back to it like after I got into the audio stuff. I'm like, this stuff does not sound very good.
It really doesn't. No.
I would love remastered Blind Guardian. That just like they would have to do more than mastering. They would have to like remix everything,
re-record it. Yeah.
No. I will say one of the things I've loved most about this is that with most audiophile headphones or IEMs, because I do try to go back to listen to like the music that made me most emotionally impacted to see if because a lot of it isn't well mixed, as you say, to see if it can not reignite, but isn't distracting enough to take me out of enjoying that. And Lumen is one of the first things in a very long time where I've really felt
I imagine it would
not
be
the same feeling, but an ability to connect that is obscured by a lot of headphones with their errors, because a lot of the errors just make the errors in the mixing and mastering sound even worse. But I find Lumen, despite being I guess reference tuned and quite exacting and precise, I still find it to be quite forgiving, which is a very nice combination for your boy who
I haven't tried
the Led Zeppelin records that are quite sharp.
Yeah, I haven't tried that specifically with Lumen yet. You saying that makes me want to go do that. Although mine's on loan now for a while. I'm probably going to be on a loan tour for the next time I'll get to hear it is September or something like that. But
damn,
the experience,
I would not be able to I would be very upset not having that thing for that long a period of time.
It's all right. I've got Aura. But no, the experience you're describing, I think you maybe even commented on it when we were talking about it on Discord, but like this headphone, I had a similar experience of just like being able to enjoy some music that wasn't hi-fi, but just the way that it handles the music just made it a little bit easier. Just listen on shuffle and listen to some new music, then be a little bit less bothered by the imperfections in it. Yeah
man, I feel like I think we might have talked about that because I said I had a similar experience with Porta Pro, and that was kind of one of the things I like most about it, is that it's so dark that it's like really forgiving to a lot of sharper, less well recorded music.
Except it has a peak in the low treble that is unforgiving.
I don't get much of one. There is a slight elevation there, but I feel like if it didn't have that, it would be like a ZMF Tessadera case where it's just too dark overall. So it has to have something.
It's an on-ear, so you can just get it. You can just roll a different treble peak by changing the position.
Yeah, true.
Are you rolling
Porta Pro was probably
rolling.
Unless we're counting M50, like Audio-Technica M50, Porta Pro was my first like audiophile conscious, not IEM purchase. And I that was like the period of music when I was probably, or the period of audio consuming when I was most voracious when it came to just listening to music all the fucking time. So I think that also kind of helps bridge that gap. When I listen to Porta Pro now, it's like, oh yeah, I know what this sounds like.
Mark Ryan, what was the name of that ETA on-ear headphone that we tried in the after hours of CanJam SoCal like a couple of years ago?
I believe that was the O2. That was Adrian's O2. I actually have it squigged, so I can confirm.
That was like one of the few on-ear headphones that I actually genuinely liked.
Yeah, that was a fun headphone.
And I feel like that would be, for people who have length mode issues in the wrong spots for most IEMs, that would be a suitable. Yeah.
Or go to a gas station.
Talk to somebody about that. But yeah,
ETA's on-ear designs generally sound quite good. Actually,
I like that one a lot.
Yeah. I just don't like the ergonomics of the one I heard, which was the Mini Open, and it had like a metal grill that just rested right on your ear. It was not good. Sounded good, but terrible.
Hey, mind the headphone. What's up?
What's up, Leo?
Shit.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Mind the Headphone. Actually, he came up to us in Munich last year.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah. Actually, I should ask, are you going to go to Vienna this year? I was asking Mind the Headphone because we saw him in Munich. But yeah, how about you, Mark?
I won't be, no, but Leo might.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we do Spicy Hour? I feel like
if you want. I mean, I feel like we should just tell them to put spicy takes in chat, and if any.
All right, spicy takes in chat. Yeah, spicy takes. Yeah. We need to do some chat engagement. We don't need to. We could just ignore
I do confess I've been slacking on it for most of this stream.
Yeah. I don't know. This year of all years, maybe it's because I haven't gone to the trade shows, or I didn't do SoCal, and I didn't do New York. There haven't been that many headphones that I've been that excited about. And part of it is also like the ones that have come out, like it's like the LCD5S, and then this is the thing that you're not supposed to do. But I saw the squig for that, and I went, "There's no scenario where I'm going to enjoy that." Like I just saw that, I was like, I have like how this is not going to be something I'm going to like.
I don't know what you're doing, man.
The new LCD5.
Yeah, you didn't get to hear it because they wouldn't let you play your own music, so you dipped. Which incredibly based decision, I will say.
It was more because I was irritated on tilt, but I'll take the bass.
I mean, you can be irritated and based.
Okay.
What is Nightfall? That's Crin's new budget one, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was called Cypher, and now it's called Nightfall.
Okay. And
$100.
$100 metal shell, cute blue color, and a very
it's going to be
tuning.
Smart V shape. Is that what we're expecting?
I would say of his, it's probably the smartest V shape he's done so far.
I mean, the bar. I don't know if the bar was that high.
I would say Daybreak is quite sensible.
Yeah, I guess if you qualify Daybreak as V shape, then yeah, then the bar is high. I was going to say like the blue and the.
Oh no, it's it's meta-ish. There's a little bit of extra 1K, but it also has a little bit of extra bass, and the treble is not super forward. It's just like a single peak instead of what he kind of has going on with Daybreak and Meta, where it's like 2 peaks.
Right. So I was going to say because he had been critical of Harman, but then put out the Harman IEMs or tried to put out the Harman IEMs.
Well, that's just smart business. I mean, you got
smart business.
You got to make sales. You do a Harman IEM,
right? But my thinking is, if now he wants to do his take on that, where with the product that he actually likes, that would make a ton of sense. Where it's like taking that same spot. I guess $100 is a bit more expensive, but you get the idea. Taking that same spot, but done in a way that's more sensible than Harman.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so that's one to look forward to. Anything else that you guys are looking forward to?
So I am looking forward to getting the LCD5S at home. A community member is sending that to me. I did not like it at the show, and I'm pretty sure I won't like it at home. Am I the only one that doesn't experience any disconnect between show impressions and home impressions, by the way?
Well, I do, because the products are different. Like I get products that are meaningfully worse sometimes.
You get a different unit, and it all there are some brands that are more guilty of this of others too.
I can definitely articulate what I thought about something much better after I've listened to it at home versus when I've heard it at a show. But usually my gut, do I like it or do I not like it, doesn't change that much actually. If
it's bad at the show, then it's going to be bad at home. It's not going to change.
Yeah. I mean, maybe here's one example actually. The Aria, the Unveiled, is that what it was? The newer one? I heard it at CanJam and I was like, that's pretty good, but it's a little bit spicy for me.
It is. Yeah.
But then I had one at home and I was just listening to it at lower volumes and I was like, it didn't bother me as much.
Spicy boy, unfortunately.
It was not as spicy as the Aria Stealth, I guess, that I remember.
No, absolutely not.
That was unlistenable for me.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it at
That's super of you guys ruining your content. Everybody knows the Aria Stealth is a benchmark.
You've been holding that one in the chamber for a while.
Well, yeah, I've never had a chance to say it while Mark. I've said it a few times in Pink Noise, but
okay.
It's a copy pasta that someone originally posted about me dunking on Aria Stealth and saying it's unlistenable. But
I mean, I literally
it's not just me. It's painful. It's no fun.
I did not have that issue quite with the Unveiled, but I did find it maybe a little hot, like the 8K is what I kind of remembered. And just getting it at home, listening to it at sensible listening volumes, not being surrounded by a bunch of people. I was like, oh, it's not.
I feel like that is something that hasn't really been pointed out that makes a lot of sense. Probably even more sense to me than the signal to noise ratio itself being an issue, occluding the character of a headphone. The fact that you don't have to listen to it as loud,
right,
would actually mean when you get a product at home, potentially you're having less issues with treble or upper mid-range specifically because you
I think
do it lower.
I think you're going about it wrong. You got to do what people like CanJam do, which is blast it so loud that you make yourself deaf, so that when you get it at home, you don't mind that it has all kinds of treble resonances.
That is what people do, though.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! People ask me in reviews how loud does it get? Just I don't want to answer this question.
As loud or louder than the headphones on my head.
Too loud is the answer. Too loud. Crin Monolith, the great for ridiculous kick drums, not good for hangovers. Ooh, is there a headphone that is good for hangovers? I genuinely don't want to wear something on my head when I'm hungover.
I don't really want to listen to music if I'm like I want to minimize all incoming stimuli as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I've never been hungover or drunk, so I couldn't say.
Incoming stimuli is my stripper name. Incoming stimuli is my headphone brand name.
Oris with a spicy take. HG650 is one of the most ASMR-y detailed high-res headphones ever.
That's because of all the treble peaks.
I mean, yes, you know that, but I feel like the
community doesn't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do in the face of that, right? Like, you have a perspective on a product that is, that it's has a bunch of treble coloration, treble emphasis, let's say, where that product is received by the community as being dark, warm, veiled, too muted, muffled, all those words. Yeah. What do you do in sort of the like? Do you just go, no, it's the people who are wrong? Like, do you do that meme, or like where does your
we were talking about this earlier, right? Like, this is where having confidence in your own internal reference and experience and being able to articulate that comes in handy. Having in-ear microphones and HRTF measurements certainly doesn't hurt in being certain and having the self-certitude to hold steadfast in your opinions. But I do think it is a, I don't want to say powerful, but it is a prevalent force, the pressure to kind of fall in line with community consensus.
That's what yeah.
The pressure is there, but it's not something I've really ever let sway me, because frankly, I've just had enough experiences at this point where I've had an opinion on a product. It wasn't reflected by the overall consensus, but then I've gotten measurements of it on my head, and turns out it is actually descriptive of what I am probably receiving. So before we got those measurements, I was basically just coasting on, again, me feeling confident in my own capabilities of listening. But sure is nice to have confirmation of that, because now that is basically never going to be an issue for me again.
I think for myself, I'm comfortable in the possibility that I am just wrong about it, and not wrong in like the objective sense, but even wrong in like the me sense. Like, I know how, influenced by how the aesthetics are, how comfortable it is, influences how I interpret the sound. And it's very possible that something that sounds literally exactly like the thing you just said was awesome, you don't like now. What, like, this is inconsistent. Like, I'm comfortable with saying, like, yeah, maybe I'm, I'm describing this thing in a way because of these other things, and that's clouding the way I'm describing the sound. And it's possible.
Yeah. But as we established earlier, that's because you're Californian, and Griffin and I don't have that luxury.
it's very stressful for me to pretend that those things aren't true.
Yeah, of course.
To cling to a picture of reality that is solid and unmovable. It's uncomfortable for me to do that, because it feels dishonest. And living in dishonesty is a very uncomfortable thing for me.
Fair.
For sure.
Have you guys any thoughts on we haven't touched on this yet, but I see there's a pepper here from Reluctant Engineer. Hi-Fi Men should buy Sennheiser. By the Sennheiser HG6 on 650 unveiled when. What do you guys' sort of thoughts on the whole Sennheiser up for sale stuff? I don't know.
I forget who it was, but it was one of my friends. When the Sennheiser being for sale, Sennheiser consumer, I should say, being for sale announcement came out, someone's immediate response was, Hi-Fi Man has the opportunity to do the funniest thing in the fucking world.
Oh, that was that was in our Discord. I think that was it not Caleb?
I feel like it would have to be.
It was either Caleb or Alan. I can't. Yeah,
it might have been Alan, actually.
Yeah,
but
what's the funniest thing that they could do?
Buying Sennheiser.
Yeah.
Oh, why is that funny?
They're run quite differently.
Okay.
It's like the opposite,
Okay.
Yeah, which is I think why you're right, Andrew, that it took place in our like private content community or content Discord server, because yeah, there's some information out there that isn't public and shan't be public.
Yeah.
They're quite different companies. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Someone says they think Samsung is going to swoop in and buy Sennheiser.
I think
but they already have enough brands. They're one of the most likely. Sorry, what did you say, Mark?
I was just thinking, I feel like Samsung has competing brands already. Like, I don't know that they benefit from.
But it's not about having enough. It's about having all. You just need more.
That is how it works. And like, Samsung and Harman are on a streak of acquisitions right now, such that they may not have a ton of capital to do it, but I think there is a business case they could make to a bank to say,
well, the Sennheiser IP is strong, right? Like regardless of whatever is going on,
is there. Like it's not a question of if it's worth it from a like positioning or marketing standpoint. It's more of what value do they think they're really going to extract, and I think for any brand that acquires them, it's going to come in the form of higher prices and probably altering manufacturing a little bit.
I think I know who it's going to be.
Okay.
Who? Microsoft.
It would be crazy.
That would be very interesting, and I could actually see that happening. I don't think about Microsoft in my life.
I know. I'm same. We were even talking about Sony and Odyssey, I think, on Think Noise, and I didn't even think about Microsoft. I was like, they don't exist anymore. But no, they do. And they're in a position where they could benefit from something like
that. I'm wondering, is EPOS under the consumer? I would assume so.
Oh, I didn't even think of that angle, but yeah.
Yeah, because
I think
it would give them a whole manufacturing, marketing, production, distribution pipeline for gaming headsets, but then they would also get everything to do with consumer, which would be
Microsoft would benefit from that portion of it. I don't know, and stuff like the HDB 630, but I don't know about stuff like the 660 S2 or the
that's what I'm saying. Like
the secondary.
I don't think they would benefit much from any of Sennheiser's headphones under $200. Like the 5 series, like under 505 and 550, actually sell incredibly well worldwide because they're affordable.
599, 598, all that
stuff. They have the brand prestige, and they're available in like consumer stores. Like it's not like HD 600 and 650 where like even fucking B&H won't have it. Right?
I can go to my local London Drugs here in the middle of nowhere.
An HD 518 or 515 or something. But above that, I see basically no value in their existing product lineup other than maybe HDB 630.
To me, it makes more sense for the branding. Sony bought Odyssey, which was somewhat of a boon to their cred. I suppose
if that was a branding move. Actually, I don't think.
I don't think it was.
Yeah,
but I think it was to some people. I don't think it was like a mainstream branding move. I would agree with that. But Sennheiser feels like a one-up on.
Oh yeah, no, massive.
Odyssey.
Like Odyssey is still fairly small potatoes compared to anything with the name Sennheiser on it.
If you have an Xbox headset tuned by Sennheiser or something like that, could be some interesting prestige there. I don't know. That could make sense. I don't know in business-wise if that makes sense, but
is Microsoft doing anything with VR?
I don't know. I know they just recently shook up their entire Xbox division, and they ousted the former people who are running it and brought in some new people who are AI pilled. But and they completely changed their marketing strategy from the whole like this is an Xbox thing to not that. And I think that's because it didn't work, so they're doing something else now. So who knows how what their plans are for gaming, and I quite frankly have no idea how they're doing with something like VR. Like that's Oh, here we go. What about this? Valve.
Potentially.
Yeah.
They're bigger than a lot of people understand.
They are.
I was gonna say I don't know that they need Sennheiser.
They maybe not. But
like I think they have a level of
so
prestige on their own at this point that whenever they come out with hardware,
that's true. They don't
be very excited for
they
it.
don't need the IP. They don't need the IP. But one thing, it wouldn't be. I'm not saying it would make sense, but I wouldn't be like shocked by it just because it is. I was just doing some market research to figure out where people are getting, like where the sources of information are for who is buying what types of headphones at what price points. And the top place to go for that is actually Steam. Like Steam, because the Steam surveys are constantly running. So they actually have a lot of
interesting.
Yeah, they'd have a lot of information on basically consumer purchase habits. And you have to imagine that a massive portion of that is I use this headset, I use that headset, I use this headphone, blah 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 blah.
So you're saying Valve is going to
I don't
acquire Skull Candy?
Yeah, but if anything, I could see Valve wanting to buy or wanting to have a product in their lineup that is a headset-like thing, whether that's a Sennheiser thing or not. Who knows, right? But it wouldn't be crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly have the capital for it.
Yeah. Okay, we've been going for 3 hours. We should probably end the stream.
3 hours? What? No.
Yeah.
It's only been 3 hours and 8. Oh my god.
There you go.
Has it really been that long? It hasn't felt like it.
It has, and I need to go to the farmer's market because I need to go to the farmer's market.
What's in season right now? And
I go to the farmer's market because I like there's a local coffee company that they
like a roaster.
Yeah, they're actually not too far from where I live, but I guess I could just go there, but I like to go to the farmer's market because they got their tent set up and I can.
Do you take the dog with you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the dog is just getting used to it. But no, like it's still there's not that much that's like not that much like vegetables and stuff like that that's in season yet, but I imagine because it's getting warmer, it's going to start to be. So right now it's just like a lot of people like a lot of baked goods, food trucks, that sort of thing. I get my hot dogs there.
My pro tip on produce is whatever is cheap is usually the best because that means it's in season and it's plentiful and they're trying to get rid of it.
Makes sense.
I found some cheap strawberries yesterday that were decent. First decent strawberries of the year. I'm excited.
Nice.
Okay, wait, before we go, one spicy take from each of us.
Ooh, okay. Oh. On the spot?
I got me on the spot here.
Just like that.
Could you want to start?
How we do it here, Mark.
Because I got to think. I don't know.
Do you have yours?
See, my takes aren't like I was gonna say more people should endeavor to be like Mark Ryan, but then that's just simping for Mark Ryan, and we've done that before, so that's not exactly spicy.
We don't.
Did you see the thumbnail?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, technically, we're simping for Mick in that thumbnail. Yo, damn. Does Very Sammy see residuals from that?
Yes, for all of them that have sold.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Oh my god, I want one of those. Where can I buy this?
Shop that, squig that link.
Okay. I've got a combative take with Mark Ryan here.
Perfect.
You should buy the Mini DSP Ears Pro.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Well, here's my hot take then. I don't care about the Mini DSP Pro.
It was your coupler that was in the video.
I know. I recognize that ER4 measurement.
I don't know if it's a really spicy take though, right? Like, because you're already very well aware of all of that stuff. So.
I wasn't that familiar with the product. I feel like maybe I'd heard of it in passing, but yeah, you talking about it was kind of the first time I was really familiar with it.
I wasn't expecting it to be good, quite frankly.
Here's we actually had a little bit of chatter about it on the Discord server because someone was asking me if I was going to buy one, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't think so, because and correct me if I've got anything wrong on this, but I guess I would probably end up using some sort of calibration on it anyway, which I'm already doing on my rigs. So
not your headphone one, but your headphone one seems fine for what you're using with it.
And I don't care about headphones, so whatever. No, that's not true. As
headphones
I'm wearing
are
headphones.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, if I guess if that was a priority for me, then I could get a calibration for the unit that I have. And I probably would run the same thing on the mini DSP. And then I would have now data that's somewhat compatible with all the data that I've been measuring over the past few years. But realistically, like I would want to remeasure everything, which I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
That's a pain.
And then it's still like not actually a gross, which even then, like, I don't know. It felt like the upsides were mostly if somebody is looking to buy something new and they don't want to go through the hassle and the dice roll of dealing with AliExpress.
Yes.
Get this thing.
Well, yes. My thinking there was actually more to do with IEMs. Just because you can be more confident it seems that you can be more confident in the couplers that you get from the Mini DSP Ears Pro.
Mark is too archive pilled.
Well, the other thing I was going to say about this is to do with the compensation bit. I think it only is something that has value. Well, it's not only, but like primarily value if you are planning on doing some sort of delta target based or delta compensation or JM1 baseline type stuff. Right, but if you, I guess my point is like if you are, to get to what Mark was saying, if you are wanting to buy something to start measuring products, I actually think the utility is more in IEMs for this type of thing than over ears, just because if you're already compensating with a generic HRTF, you don't need to worry about the fact that the ear isn't exactly the KB5000, right?
Gotcha. But that does, I guess, maybe another thing that I thought I had when I was watching your video was like you have ostensibly one unit, so we know
Constantine also has a unit.
Okay, yeah. No, that's then actually maybe a little bit stronger of a case than I was thinking then. But like within the IM space, you point out that there's a massive range.
I was thinking about that too. Like maybe we've got the one that's in that closer tolerant, maybe, but yeah.
But if you have a couple of them that look pretty consistent, that's already a better case than I was thinking. But I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense as if I'm starting a business and I would need to buy 5 of these things. What's $5,000 versus $2,500? It's much better to do that than go on AliExpress and like. Dude, the AliExpress buying experience sucks.
Yes.
Yeah. Like anytime people have come to me, I'm like, I think it's this one, and you need this microphone, and you hope like literally when I paid like $600 and everything got here, I did not know that it was going to work.
Yeah.
It was a question of whether
I know exactly what you mean. It's like, do I get this with it? Do I need this? How do I get this to work? I know what you mean.
I had to pin a post in my personal like just notes server with just all of the pieces someone would need for that, so I can just grab it and throw it at them when they need it. Because it's so annoying that you have to buy it from separate places, stores disappear. It's just incredibly opaque, and obviously the shipping takes forever, and it's just a pain in the ass, honestly.
It is. And like from a professional perspective, like the money saved on that makes 0 sense. Just buy the thing off the shelf that works. The one thing that's kind of disappointing is that you pointed out that the sound card that comes with that thing has bass roll off. Like how does
not necessarily that so Constantine's doesn't.
Oh, interesting.
Brian did too.
I know Brian's did, it might. I don't know. Another thing is we were struggling with the driver. I got it to work plug and play eventually. But
it should just come with an Apple dongle.
Yeah.
Mini DSP X Apple collab.
Yeah. But no, so there were a couple of little scrungly bits like that where I'm like, what's going on here? But Constantine's doesn't seem to have that problem. So
that box looked like, and it looked like what I see on a lot of the AliExpress listings that I just ignore that part. Is it like the same thing, or is it a clone of that, or?
It's not the same sound card, no.
Okay.
At least as far as I'm aware. If it was the same sound card, it probably wouldn't have the same issues that we're seeing, where it's got roll off.
I don't know. I've never used one of the official ones or the clone ones.
My puppy is howling.
Oh no,
baby.
Save the puppies.
Well, I didn't intend for this, but I can't think of a different spicy take.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry, Mark, I am bringing it up again, but I do think it's time to abandon the Super 22 target, bud. It's been 4 years. Everyone has learned a lot.
Yeah.
And no shade, but no one uses your target. Like, I don't think it's a useful reference for people other than you.
Right.
Sorry.
I don't disagree. We were talking a little bit about this again on Discord, and like for me, it's just a lot of effort to move. Like, it's more effort than just swapping out the target.
Why is that?
For me, like developing my familiarity with what it means to be, to have a squig this far away from the target.
And to be clear, I'm not saying swap it out with a new super target. I'm just saying,
I understand.
Yeah, just use the two targets that people are using nowadays, which is Harman and the DF tilt.
Yeah, potentially. Again, I'm not opposed to it. It's fairly low on my list of things I want to change about SquigLink. So that's probably why.
I would say it's less of something that like matters for like SquigLink as a whole, and more for like what graph exports look like by default when people show up to the site.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know you're not necessarily opposed to it. I am just vociferously advocating for it again, because in terms of things I would fix about your visualization, obviously, I would advocate for DF compensation, and I would advocate for a boundary instead of a target line, but we've talked about that. I understand your position. I think in terms of things that work with the way you currently like to do things, especially in videos when you're kind of, you got your fingers, your gray little fingers.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. There are those little piggies. But I feel like with the way you want to do that, and the way, one, that your target is already similar to the DF tilt, just with like basically one, maybe two differences. I think it would just serve as a better contrast between the two targets, in terms of what kind of sound profiles like people are generally judging things against. And I don't think you're unfamiliar with the target at this point. Like, I think you're more familiar with products that are kind of adherent to it, but then deviate in major ways.
Right.
But yeah, I just think it's worth doing.
Corey also thinks that you should abandon that target.
Oh, and I'm not even mentioning the obvious just scorn for reviewer individual targets.
Reviewer targets are that's the best. Those are the best, actually.
I have yet to encounter one besides yours that is good until Crin's target.
Define good, because if we use reviewer target as this is the frame of reference that this person is speaking from, then I like it.
So the thing is, I don't have as much confidence in people actually being familiar with the sound of their own target.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Like, and especially like now that you've had the Lumen and evaluated it, and it surprised you in that it didn't sound like you expected it to sound based on the way it measured, and the fact that when we place in-ears into a coupler or something, it's not going to represent what you're actually getting. I feel like that kind of breaks the argument for like familiarity with how a measurement will align based on a target line, because it may just be doing different things. It may look like it's adhering to the target, but in your ear, it's actually sounding quite different, or vice versa. It may look quite different and sound more similar to that target. So I feel like if we're not going to be doing a DF compensation with bounds, which I would still advocate for above this,
I still don't like the bounds.
I understand why you wouldn't like the current bounds, because I also do not like the current bounds.
Maybe
we're working on that. I don't know that he's going to like the new bounds either.
For IEMs, I think he might actually. They are, I would say, both more pluralistic than the current bounds that we, for some reason, use for both, and also more accommodating of, I think, just a wider range. And I think Mark is someone that appreciates a fairly wide range of stuff if done well. So I feel like a bound that isn't quite exclusionary in its aim, and more so about classification, and it placed within this area of the bounds means this, instead of this being outside of the bounds is bad, is, I think, more in line with what his messaging and his takes tend to be.
Here we are reading the tea leaves of Mark Ryan when we could just
I mean, look, as much as I don't want to assume too much, like I talk with Mark fairly regularly, and I consume all of his content.
What do you think, Mark Ryan, about on the one hand, we're talking about this in terms of like what is the more fair characterization of headphone measurement data. On the other hand, it's what is a more useful communication tool, and for people to engage with. And I at the very least, for people who are interested in measurements, I feel it's not controversial to say that the bounds are harder to interpret. It's not as clear of a communication tool as line against the line. But what's your sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably to a fault, I don't think that much about communicating to other people.
Oh, interesting.
Which is a weird thing to say, right? Like the way that my squiggling site is configured is the way that helps me the most. And I don't think too much about like what. I mean, I tried to think about it in terms of like, I want squiggling to be accessible. I want people to land on there and like be able to get value out of it. But what is like the absolute best way to present data? I feel like it's just complicated. So I don't know if there is a good answer to it.
I mean, it's certainly complicated, and like there's a reason it's taken us so long to roll ours out. It's because we are probably a little over fixated on that.
I actually had an idea. I'll give you guys this. You can steal it.
Okay.
If you get to it before I do.
Sure.
What if just every time you picked a new earphone, you got up the graph, but then it also played 2 seconds of pink noise with that frequency response?
Yeah, we definitely want to be jump scaring people with pink noise anytime they click any measurement.
Sorry, what were we talking about? The bounds or something?
We were talking about ideal communication of graph data. So this is something I got into on the water cooler thread recently, which is that it's obvious to us, at least, that people need to have less confidence in the measurement predicting their exact experience. And because of that, there is a need for whatever we use to be more pluralistic. But at the same time, like we want to make sure that it aligns with. We don't necessarily want to make sure it aligns with our opinion of the product. Like, frankly, that's not what we're going to be doing with rig data at all anymore, because it's just not our ears. With IEMs, we don't necessarily have that freedom yet. It's more so about just taking what we know to be flawed data and know to be something that is going to be misinterpreted, and minimizing that chance as much as possible so that the people who want to get use out of it can, but also so that people who are kind of just biased against the measurements existing in the first place can be a whole lot less certain of the arguments they usually use, which is, the Harman target is bad, is pretty much the most common one, or X target is bad, when, if they don't if they don't have a single line to, I guess, raise their pitchforks against, it's a little bit harder to argue with.
Yeah, potentially. I guess I'm not that concerned about that argument. And again, maybe this is to a fault. Like I'm just not.
No, I don't think it's to your fault.
You're not hell bent on world domination.
I don't know to what degree we can, because like think about like how much we've we aren't it doesn't line up with Harman.
And it doesn't matter because people still.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people are just going to say that anyway.
Yeah.
Like a Harman target has not appeared on your guys' stream for 5 years, and they're still saying that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know.
You use measurements, therefore you do Harman.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, we do some Harman. What can I say?
Oh wow, that's terrible. Okay, but here's the thing. So in the spirit of that, wouldn't it, given that people are going to paint all of us with that brush anyways, wouldn't it then not make sense to just bite that bullet and go with whatever is the fairest characterization of the data?
Sure. Yeah.
Which would be.
To be clear, Mark has taken steps to do this. He does do positional like insert variation now.
Right. I'm not even saying that it wouldn't be. I'm just saying, wouldn't something like the bounds be the more, and this isn't necessarily to say you should do this, like do what you want. I'm just saying like,
yeah. So I'm gonna say something that I think is different, but you tell me if I'm not actually describing this differently than the way that maybe you're thinking about it or do think about it. But like, I don't look at a target as like, target's the wrong word. I see it as a reference point. And the fact that we call it target is maybe the problem, because implicit in that is like, this is what it should sound like, which is not how I like to use them. I like to use them as a reference point to compare two things. One of them is a thing I know, and then the other is something I don't know. And I'm trying to kind of gauge the delta between those two things.
The first being Super 22 and the second being Harman?
In one example, yeah. But like even like something I've said in a couple of recent videos is like, probably a better way to use graphs, if you've never heard Super 22, and most people haven't, if you've never heard Harman target, is just pull up a graph of something that you have heard and compare the thing that you're considering buying and compare it to that. And again, not in terms of a goodness, but in terms of what's different.
Sure.
And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. The only thing that I push back on a little bit there is I think that people use targets maybe not how you would think of that. I think they use it as like,
people are less reasonable than Mark generally.
They kind of approach it with that like evaluative, like this is what it should be, and it's not in these places. And the more correct and fair characterization of that is, well, for you, that target, that this is what it should be, is several different things, and many of which are not being depicted here. Many of which are not being depicted by whatever the single line is, right?
Yeah, I guess the challenge I have with the preference bounds, and I've voiced this to Griffin before, is like I don't know what the extremes of those preference bounds sound like, and so then it's harder for me to kind of like intuit, is this something I would perceive as bright or not, or is this something that would sound bloaty to me?
He's gotten into my headphone cable. I'm stuck.
I think I've asked you this before, Mark.
He's eating, chewing up.
Snack time for baby.
This chat is now about puppies.
Good. Yeah, always should have been about.
He likes the meze cable. Sorry.
Nice.
Mark, I asked you this before, and I do wonder what I forget what your answer was, if you had a definite answer to it, but would you be open to me running a blind test on you to, if you didn't want to adopt our bounds,
adopt your own,
having your own, so you know what the extremes of that bounds sounds like. So the listening tests I've been
you have to pay Griffin in AI credits.
No, but I think it would be useful because the way I've set it up is that it creates a bound space based on the extremes of what you actually find preferable. So it's not just a test where you're doing what Harman did, where they adjust shelf filters and then that's your curve. And it's also not doing what Harman has also done, where you're just comparing a bunch of different curves. It's a blend of the two with another preference element that I won't disclose quite yet. But it leads to, at least in my case, a fairly coherent, like sensible bound space where I know what everything inside it would actually sound like. And I know anything outside of it would probably be too much. Like the brightest tilt I can accommodate in a DF equalized headphone, I now know that to be a 4 decibel tilt, which is brighter than I think most people would expect for one. But it also lets me know how something with some of the characteristics of that, but maybe more bass, would be received, or simultaneously something with much darker treble still on the bounds, but no bass shelf would also probably still be well received. And I feel like that to me is way more compelling than the rig bounds we're working on, because those are, you know, just us trying to milk the dead horse of Harman for something.
But that is generally why, like, you haven't seen the new bounds, and I think maybe that will help kind of illuminate that a little bit, because it is a little bit more like there's more nuance to those than just the basic filter ranges that we have.
I still think the individualized bounds would probably be more
that's what I was going to say. I was going to go there next. So like the core thing for us that we're doing here is, because we have our HRTFs, we're now able to do this for us. Mark doesn't have his HRTFs or his DF, right?
Yeah,
but for
something useful,
you could still come up with something useful for the rig. Yeah.
You would just have to use a generic JM one instead of ours.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say with
the preference result.
Yeah, and with IEMs, this is actually quite doable, right? Like you could even take an IEM measured on something else and use it, because you're using generic HRTF anyways.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark, your response.
The question was, would I be interested in doing a blind experiment or something? I mean, what you described sound very interesting. I'm very interested to learn more. It sounds like a lot of effort that I'm asking you for, that I am getting.
No, the application already exists. Like it's already, I already have my personal bound for over-ear headphones, and it is just like it's spit out by the application at the end of it.
Interesting.
We can talk about.
Sorry, I'm holding these up because Graco's in the chat.
There's maybe one area that we would probably want to have a conversation about, which is normalization of all of the included curves. Because depending on how you normalize all the curves that you like, you know, it can be either like very narrow in the mid-range and wide in the bass and treble, or just kind of equally wide across the whole. I kind of like the latter, but it's something we could talk about. But no, you're not. It's no extra effort on my part. I would be happy to do it.
No pressure, Mark.
I'm not sure what pressure there is on me. It sounds sounds interesting.
We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there any other peppers in chat?
There's been a few. 10 dB DF is too dark. It really is, I feel, when DF is in situ is controlled for. Particularly too much low mids. Things get soupy.
Hashtag low mids.
Yeah. With DF. Did we do the full round of? Oh, we did Griffin's spicy take.
Oh yeah, we need Mark's.
We need Mark's.
No. Good, you didn't let him off easy.
That's right.
I thought I was getting a freebie by saying I didn't like the preference bounds. That was my.
Was that your?
I don't think that's a spicy take, unfortunately.
Really?
Like the preference bounds.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I think we found them useful when they were the only thing we had, but now that we have a
newer one that we want,
better version of them, it's showing its age, is what I'll say.
We've wanted to like make it more, because the problem is like, as Sean says, he agreed that it was a good characterization of, preference, because it's pulled from the Harman work, but he noted the same problem that we noted, which was that you can have anything from shit to joules within there, right?
Right.
And nothing tells you, which one is shit.
Yeah, the important part is the ladder there. Like I think in any bounds that includes the gradient of a large sampling of human preference, there's going to be shit that fits inside that, but we've reoriented ourselves to be less concerned with dictating what is going to be shit for people, because we don't know. Like everything we've learned about interpersonal variation just tells us we don't know, and that's fine. We need to accept that. The best we can do for people is give them classification of what is most likely to be received. So instead of saying this is a bad headphone, saying this is a lean, bright headphone, or something like that.
And that's with reasonable products. There are definitely ways that this reveals. Sorry, we're talking over Mark. What sorry. what was your? Do you have another? Yeah,
it's always hard to come up with spicy takes, but
especially on the spot.
The one sitting on the table here with me. This headphone's better than this headphone.
Ooh, that's a good spicy take.
I'd buy that.
That's a good spicy take. Because it's controversial for the community, right? Like, because it's been well received and more expensive.
And no one will agree with me. Nobody that is literally seriously.
I might agree with you once I actually get to hear and play with an EH11.
Maybe. I mean, like, for anyone who isn't familiar with it, this is the Fio EH11. It is an on-ear. Will torture your ears in the same way that any on-ear will. It has negative noise canceling, which is either a benefit or a problem if you're shopping for noise canceling. But it has 10-band parametric EQ built into it, which means it's actually better EQ than this thing has.
Because it's only 5 for the Sennheiser, right?
It's 10 bands, and you can go plus or minus 12 dB.
Well, there you go. Instantly better. It's a better product.
Yes. Yeah, 630 is half that, both in band count and in decibel allowance.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, that's the arms race. You know how like manufacturers get on the spec sheet arms races for things? That's the one that I'd like to see take off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, they don't have to go much farther than Fio goes with that. Like 10 bands of PEQ with a 12 dB range. If that's not sufficient to fix the headphone, I think that's a user issue.
I'm actually kind of curious from you guys, since you guys have your HRTFs and now you're able to really get nitty gritty with the EQ. Are you still using like EQ bands, or are you using like convolution filters or something like?
I'm typically using EQ bands, and
me too.
So for example, is it here? No, it's in the living room. So D1 is one of the headphones that I use most with EQ, and instead of just doing it exactly to what I've kind of found out is my preference, I'll just kind of nudge it to be closer to inbounds. So I get a 5K and 10K peak. I notch those out a little bit, but like not all the way, so it's flat with the target. I boost the mid treble a little bit because there's a little bit of a hole there. I extend the bass. I warm up the mids a little bit, and it sounds great, but it still kind of sounds like a D1, which I do like, because I feel like.
So you're retaining a little bit of the character.
Yeah, not only that, I feel like this is something we kind of alluded to in the HD 600 to HD 800 video, but there is an acoustic character of headphones that is not changeable with EQ, and it's not technicalities. It's just like, frequency specific openness. And I feel like EQing the D1 exactly to the target sounds a little bit it still sounds great. It just doesn't sound as in line with what the acoustics of the headphone want it to sound like.
That is some mythological bullshit if I ever heard it.
But I'm on board. I'm on board. I like it.
But it's a feeling based thing, but I do feel like preserving some of that character gel better with the specific kind of openness that headphone has, which is not much, frankly. And because of that, I feel like when I like dip the treble all the way to target, for example, it starts to sound just a little bit less free and open in.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, criticize how you want.
Pull up the water cooler thread, man. This is gold for them.
No, I'm talking about EQ. It's not a.
Oh, right. That's true. It's not allowed.
Yeah. But so yeah, to answer your question, with some headphones, I do find just meeting the target exactly, and thus convolution being ideal, is actually great. Like that's actually the best way XV sounds for me. If I make little nudges with XV, I find it to just sound not all the way as good as it could, but then when I match target exactly, it's like, yeah, that's.
I almost never use convolution because
I don't even know how.
But
it's not easy.
I just get Cameron to do it. No. um, so the problem is because it's EEP data and not DRP data, there's the canal band resonances that show up as emissions. But the problem is it's hard to know the degree to which those are being captured by the microphone. So, for example, in the primary resonance at like up close to 3 kilohertz, it's not exactly 3 kilohertz, but like, let's say the primary resonance between 2 and 3 kilohertz, that's captured by the microphone because the microphone actually, the capsule sits far enough into the ear that some of that is present, so it doesn't show up as an emission. So how do you really get a sense of that with the convolution filter if you're just gonna?
Well, that's the thing. You would have to complete the preference
manually do,
and find the actual target that includes those emissions, which. But is seemingly not a problem for me at all. Like
it is for me because it changes. Yeah. It seemingly changes from headphone to headphone. Like the features are always there. It's just that the magnitude of the omission is different. And sometimes this, like particularly in my left ear, for whatever reason, I have maybe my eardrum has a more resonant character to it, where certain headphone designs, particularly open backs, seem to propagate a peak more commonly. And so it's really hard to use a convolution filter that's able to like make or include all of that, right? If you're going through the convolution process, it's easier for closed back headphones, high acoustic impedance headphones, because that seems to be consistent across the board.
Which is so strange to me, because you would assume it would be the opposite.
You would assume it'd be the opposite.
Less with the higher, with the lower impedance. You wouldn't be seeing as much of this disconnect between the two ears.
It's the most consistent with ANC products, which to me again signals that this is an acoustic impedance thing. If I were to use convolution, like I could do it much more easily with high acoustic impedance products. This headphone is fantastic with convolution because it tracks like bang on. But in certain open backs, they just seem to show up as more resonant for, or basically where the canal band omissions are is a bit more of a mystery.
And or like not where the audience. This is also like theory. This is not, we have not tested the acoustic impedance of our ears or seen how that's affected with headphones.
Yeah, it's just like we're just trying to think of like why would this
confirmed all of this, but it just seems to be the case that whenever we use an exact convolution based on the measurements Andrew's actually taking in his ears, that he just wants less than a flat line in these specific like 3K, 8K, 12,
which indicates that like there is something perceptually relevant about the data that's captured there. It's just unclear what the magnitude's supposed to be. So it means the microphone's picking something up, but as Joel says, unanswered questions.
I'm just grateful none of that stuff has mattered for me.
It's just
it would make it a lot harder to use.
highly deadened eardrum. Or maybe my ear canals are coated in wax, so it's making the sound go faster.
Lubricating the sound.
That's some water cooler shit right there. Okay, on that note, we should probably end the stream. I do need to go to the farmer's market because that's only open for another hour and a half. Right. So, and my puppy is crying at me.
So. My last spicy take. Actually, I thought of another one.
Please.
Everyone should be listening to more pink noise. And I don't mean the Discord chat. I mean actually listening
I would say
to
the Discord
noise.
Chat. Why do you say people should be listening to more pink noise?
Well, it's David Gilmour's solo project.
No, please go on. Like, what do you mean learn a lot?
Oh, I meant that as a bomb, and then you're going to hang up. I didn't mean I had to explain myself. I don't know. I've just been playing around with it, like doing EQ, and like
you have to train yourself on it a little bit first, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
To an extent.
But it's just it's so much more stable than like trying to EQ music.
Yep.
I remember Griffin. Oh yes, for sure. Because with music you're at the mercy of the recording.
Like this hi-hat was louder than that one. Was it because I changed the EQ or because the recording was slightly different?
Yeah. No, I just remember Griffin when we did the preference testing initially, where for the pink noise portion, I'm trying to identify peaks. I can identify them, but it's like the tolerance for where they go away is you start to
it's
get
easy
a little
to
bit,
identify resonances.
Yeah.
It's not easy to use it as a reference for how much you should adjust them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, I desperately have to go. So thanks to Mark Ryan for joining this stream. This
Thanks for
almost
having me.
4-hour stream. Everybody go check out Mark Ryan's channel if you haven't already. That's Superstar Review, or super
Superficial
review.
reviews.
It's super review. Some of the best headphone reviews out there, and quite frankly, some of the most sensible and reasonable takes.
Justice for Mick.
Sensible and reasonable takes on audio, generally what matters, all of that stuff. Follow Mark Ryan on all of the places to follow Mark Ryan, and his Discord as well.
Join his Discord server, Prisma channel popping off, and listen to Pink Noise on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Or Tuesdays, sorry.
And
Tuesdays at 8 p.m.
It's not just Pink Noise. It's like it's Mark Ryan hanging out.
It's a chat. It's fun.
And for the two of you who are here because I linked to it from Discord and or my YouTube channel, you should all the same things about these guys. You should subscribe to the Headphone Show. Great guys.
They do like heart thing. Also, a big thanks to headphones.com for making all this possible. As always, it's the place to learn about and buy headphones. And maybe we'll have some Mark. Maybe you can write an article for us at headphones.com if you feel so inclined. We'll hit you up about that later.
I would love like just an op-ed from Mark Ryan.
Yeah. Why not? It'd be fun. And you can follow our Discord. That should be linked, and our forum as well should also be linked. Socials, all that stuff. And we will see you guys in the next one. Maybe next week we'll have Zeos. He was going to come today, but he had to get a haircut, and that was more important. So fair enough.
Fair enough. Yesterday.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Are you end the stream, or am I ending the stream?
You're ending the stream.
Okay, bye, guys.